What's up, dude?
Not much. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah, fuck everyone. Look at your hat.
Is it sweet? Morph Market.
Dude, it's so fucking green with your hair that's
Dude,
so
I
fucking
love it. I
purple.
saw it and I was like, gotta have it. Gotta have the green one. Yeah. No, so if anyone doesn't know John from Morph Market, he was at Schaumburg this weekend. And dude, went up to his booth, just kind of had merch, and he was sitting there with a notebook. And you would come up and he'd ask who you were, if you were vending or if you were a breeder and what company you were with, if you had Morph Market. And then he was like, what can we do to improve Morph Market?
Oh,
Like, what would you like to
yeah.
see? And I mean, he had a whole notebook full of stuff. And I mean,
Yeah, John
truly like
Layman is.
writing down, listening.
Yeah.
It was great. Like one of the most best experiences I've had with someone who offers a product, right? Like instead of you going up to someone and be like, hey, you know what I think would make this so much better, and bought, and they're just like, yeah, we'll talk about it. Well, it's like really focused on his users and what could truly, what the consumers of the product want, right? Instead of just being like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, John Layman's always been really solid. I remember when he
Yeah.
first launched Morph Market, there was a like a comment critique box at the homepage on the bottom.
Yeah.
And now that his page has since been replaced by the they call it the community forums or whatever.
Yep.
Yep. So that's
Yeah, but
pretty dope.
They've always been great answering like emails and stuff and comments, but it's the first time I met him in person. It was an awesome experience. But we're not here to talk about Morph Market tonight. We're here to talk about the Herpetoculture Magazine.
Oh, dude. No way. Herpetoculture Magazine. What's that?
I don't know.
I bet one of the two guys who run it could tell us. His name's Justin. Let's bring him in.
All right.
What's
Hey
up,
there,
Justin?
What's happening?
What's up, man?
How are you
Not
doing
a whole
tonight?
lot. I'm hanging out. I'm not sweating like crazy. We've had a lot of rain here, so it's a little cooler than normal, which is nice.
So where's here, Justin, for the viewers?
I'm in Beaufort, South Carolina. So I'm like, if you're looking at South Carolina on a map, I am right down here in the very bottom corner on like the Georgia border.
Nice.
You're down
right
there.
on the coast.
You are down there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Jacksonville's only like a 3-hour drive. We're like right there. So
Wow. Yeah.
All right, so Justin, let's do a little intro. Tell everybody, who you are, where you're from, what's your background, and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm Justin Smith. I am 1/2 or 1/3 of Herpetoculture Magazine. So it's myself and Billy Hunt. Billy's running a little bit late. Apparently he has a house crisis on his hands right now. But my start in herps was, it started young. It's pretty much the same story as everybody else. Kind of the running joke we have, of like dinosaurs, couldn't find them, found snakes and stuff. That was the next best thing sort of deal.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, ever since I was a kid, it's always been something I've been interested in. And there's been very few times where I didn't have some sort of herp. Then in 2016, 2017, I started PCE. So I've always been a snake guy at heart. Started PCE breeding crested geckos. Eventually moved on to focus 100% on snakes. So currently I'm working with some chondros. Very big into Baird's rat snakes. I got some corns, some Brettles pythons, some boiga, so green cat snakes.
There you go.
Nice.
And then I got some other odds and ends of some like Eurasian Elaphe. And I'm sure I'm missing something, but yeah, Gonyosoma. So mostly colubrids and pythons, or Morelia specifically, so.
Yeah.
It's,
Nice variety.
Yeah. I wish I could focus on just one thing, but I know if I did, I'd be itching for other stuff within about 3 to 6 months, and I'd be right back to where I am now, so.
Oh, dude, absolutely. 100%. So do you have any palmettos? Just curious.
I don't. So the corn snakes, the corn snakes that I'm focused on, I actually just hatched out my first clutch of them So where I live on the coast, there's a lot of barrier islands, and so each island sort of has its own sort of special phenotype of corn in a sense, to where they all have some sort of variation within the same 50-mile radius, and so the island I live on, I have a group of 3, and then I have one that comes from like the mainland on the other side of like the sound that I'm on. So the corn project that I'm focused on is solely my local locality.
It's your locality where you're at. Yo, that's pretty badass.
Awesome. Yeah.
So the female that just laid that clutch, I actually got her about 5 years ago. She was a little tiny thing that came out of, I was living with my parents at the time, and their neighbor across from them, probably 200 yards from their house, they had this little baby corn snake in their pump house because everyone runs on wells here.
Yeah.
And I had that snake. I ended up selling it to a local pet store at one point, and then went back in a couple months later, and she was still there. I ended up buying her back for like $25. Yeah. And so now I still have her. So she's, for 5 years, I've kind of been waiting and hoping to find a male that would work out with her. And then it turned out that, within the last 2 years, 2 other not adults, they were probably maybe a little bigger than yearlings. Found those on my parents' property and ended up taking those in and treating them and stuff. And they've been rocking and rolling. So got my first clutch from those. That just hatched while I was in Texas week before last. So,
nice. So that's your first captive born on the grounds because it's your first clutch of that specific locality.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I have a soft spot for corns because when I was a kid back in 2004, my dad was breeding corn snakes and stuff too. So I'll always have a soft spot for those. I'm not a major morph guy, but I do love tesseras and pretty much anything with anery in it I like a lot too. So
totally missed one.
Yay.
He lives.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
How's your night going?
All right, so now it's like yeah, so okay. Real quick, we're going to have to start over now. So now you have to give us an intro of who you are.
Just slap some duct tape on it and it's good to go.
Yeah. And then tell us why you're late.
I'll put it out there.
Your tardiness.
All right. Well, I'm Billy Hunt. Run Uwabami Reptiles. I help Justin with the magazine. Been keeping for 20 years now. If you count like as a kid and stuff. Been breeding for 5. Messed with carpet pythons, old world rat snakes, South American colubrids, all that kind of stuff. And of late, I'm sure you guys already know, I had a leak in my roof that I was dealing with. It's kind of been an ongoing thing, but
dude.
Yeah, trying to get the insurance to do the, it's just an adult stuff. It always takes forever. So
yeah, no, I feel you. I have houses that I own have been hit by hurricanes a few times in the Carolinas, as a matter of fact. So it's always so shitty because my insurance will be like, yeah, you need like $9,000 worth of damage. You have like $8,750 worth of damage, so we're not covering shit.
$8,990.
Of course.
Sorry.
Yeah, dude, it's so shitty.
Go and kick a window out or something and be like, is that enough?
Yeah. Yeah, don't,
Pretty much.
Hey,
By knocking this wall, can we call it? Yeah.
Yeah. Just pay out of my own pocket to replace the damn roof.
As soon as they turn their back, they hear something shatter and they ask what that was, and it was totally you throwing a rock or something through the window. Blame it on like a stray branch or something.
Right? Hurricane Matthew.
Wind damage.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, Matthew was nuts, man.
That's the one I'm actually talking about right now. Yeah, dude.
Matthew was fun.
Yeah, fuck that one. So the house that I owned in North Carolina, I had just put like 6 months prior to Matthew, a brand new, huge privacy wooden fence up around the whole acre. And that shit got fucked up, man.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Fences are expensive. Fences ain't cheap. I don't think people realize, like, especially like privacy fences, those aren't cheap.
Yeah,
especially now with the way lumber is.
Yeah, I paid a few thousand for it, man.
Crazy.
That shit sucks. So then how similar are your guys' collections, or do you work breeding plans together or do breeding loans together or anything like that?
I have a trinket snake that I'm holding for him right now that I wish would get out of my house because it's the devil.
So, explain
Billy
that.
loves the stuff that hates everything. The stuff that probably wishes it wasn't alive, wish it had never been born. That's Billy's wheelhouse. Like the Colignathus, the Pataeus, like all that stuff that's just super squirrely.
Oh yeah, just big old assholes.
Yep.
Yep.
God
just
Billy
as
loves
I
them.
was setting up, my Pataeus mucosa was trying to get at me through the glass on the cage. Just kind of gotten used to it at this point. Keeps things interesting, you know.
Oh yeah, that's fucking wild. So what chondros do you guys work with? Because I think I'm gonna here within the next year get into some chondros.
I've got a little bit of
this
a mix, but Billy's. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got Lyrias and Sorongs. That's what I have primarily.
Hell yeah.
And how many do you have? Do you still have? You have like what? 4, 3, 4, 5?
5.
Okay.
5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a handful of Beox. I've got about 9 right now. I had an adult female that I had paired up with my male this year. Unfortunately, I think she got egg bound and she rolled on me.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be producing chondros again anytime soon because everything else I have is either a male or still really young. But a decent chunk, about half of those are Beox. I've got some Maniquari types, and then I've got... I guess that's kind of the hard... Like, you have like the designer stuff, which I won't necessarily say it's like... It's not illegitimate designer stuff, but it's stuff that's just like hybrids, like not. It's not the high end, crazy stuff, but they are designers. You know, I guess.
Okay, so then
they're hybrids. They're hybrids. Yeah,
they're hybrids. I'm not going to deny that. I'm
not
arguing with that.
So then, you're a purist then.
Not particularly. When it comes to chondros, see that's what's kind of funny is like in the world of Morelia, especially when it comes to carpet guys, you get guys that are like hardcore pure. Like, don't want anything if it has any questionable sort of lineage in it. Like with chondros, no one cares about that. They all look cool. There's an ugly one doesn't exist. And so people have been, everyone is, even before Natush put out the paper saying there was 4 different subspecies, 5 different subspecies, we all kind of figured that to begin with. When he was like, these are actually different snakes, you know, on a line. They're not the same. And everyone kind of was like, yeah, we sort of figured. And that's never been a big deal in chondros. Like no one's ever really cared. Like they all, whatever you put together is going to make awesome stuff, you know, and it's just whatever. So I can understand from the carpet standpoint because we don't have steady access to those unless they're pop ones. But with chondros, it's like there's plenty coming in, you know, so.
Yeah, I'd be finding myself on Gary Scavino's channel a lot lately, and that dude is just
Gary's a trip.
Yeah, his channel is like hot, man. I really like his YouTube.
He walks the line of education and entertainment very well. Like he gets to the point and gives you very good information, but he also makes it entertaining enough to where you're not falling asleep. Like you're laughing and you're engaged and cringing a little bit, you know, because this is Andrew Mice Clay thing, and you know, it's just some of it's goofy, but it's still entertaining.
Hell yeah, I feel that. Well, let's get into some good set questions. So this is for like sort of both of you. What sort of sparked this passion for the magazine? Because that's why we're here right now, right? You do Herpetoculture Magazine, and it's I found you guys. I think actually on the podcast app is where I found you guys listening to the podcast first. And then I actually found your Instagram. And then I just was like, oh, I could just read this digital on a tablet, dude, which is really badass. So, and it's cool for me because when I was a kid, I grew up real poor. So I'd have to walk downtown to the laundromat to read the Reptile magazine every month. And this was in the mid to late 90s. So to find a new magazine, I'm like, yo, dude, for me, personally, like, this is so badass. This is so fucking cool, and it really excites me, and it's very nostalgic. So this is for both of you. You could go one at a time, or whoever wants to go first. What inspired this, man? Where did it come from?
Well, I'm gonna start it by saying that it wouldn't even be here if it were not for Billy.
Oh shit!
I gotta give him full credit because I was originally trying to start it back in 2018 by myself. At the time, I was working in a local magazine, sort of marketing publishing firm, I guess is what you'd call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I learned enough on the job that I was like, I'm gonna start something else. I want to take the same sort of model as how we were doing the local magazines, which were free and advertiser driven. And I was like, I want to do another magazine, but herp related. Since Reptiles was kind of the only one at the time that we had, and it got to a point. I mean, I didn't even really get off the ground, honestly, because it was one of those things where I'd be sitting at work for 9 hours. Sitting at my computer, and then it was like I'd come home and I have to do that more to get the magazine going. And
gotcha.
And so I shelved it. I was like, I'll come back to it, at a later date. And then I ended up switching jobs to where I'm at now. And then Billy came to me and said, hey, if I help you out, will you bring the magazine back and make it a thing? And I said, sure. And it's been much easier with help, that's for sure. And it's definitely not as brutal when you're not staring at a computer screen all day and then going home and having to do it some more. So.
Oh yeah, no, I feel that. When I was a teenager, one of my first jobs was washing dishes at a restaurant. I didn't want to come home and wash dishes after washing dishes all fucking day. Yeah, that shit sucks, man. So
the reason zookeepers don't keep stuff at home because they're like, I clean cages all day. Why would I want to come home and do it some more?
I'm telling my girlfriend, like, I love my pets. I really, really do. I have a lot of good pets. But I'm like, dude, just working with animals is so, like, fuck, man. When I come home, just the dog is fine. It's like, no more.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to have days, it's, at some point or another where you're just not feeling it. Doesn't matter how much you love it. You're just not in the mood for it, not feeling it.
Oh, yeah, you're only human. I wanted to get Billy's take on the question, but he's all frozen and shit.
But the sort of the interest in it for me was just being in that industry, and for me, it's like the designing and stuff is kind of the fun part, even if it does get a little tedious. It's because I like to think of myself as a creative person, and I always have to be doing something.
So then, Justin, you come from that background then professionally, yes?
Yeah, I worked in that realm for 2 years, two and a half. So
then, Billy, what are you bringing? What do you bring into the table? It sounds like you're like the big guns behind the magazine, dude. Like,
not at all, not at all. Pretty much like Justin said, we were just chatting one day, and he was like, "Hey, I got all these ideas and all that." So I was like, "Hey, what do you got? Tell me." And he brought up the magazine. I was like, hey, I don't know anything about editing. I don't know anything about making a publication, but I'll, learn what I can, we'll get through it. And pretty much just blossomed from there to what it is now. Those first couple issues were tough for sure, trying to figure out everything. But it's cool going back and seeing the first ones. Yeah, seeing like the first ones and seeing what we've gotten to now is pretty cool to see just how much better we've gotten with the programs and stuff.
It's all been a blur. It's crazy how fast the months seem to go by. It's like we just released issue 20 and now it's like it's time for 21 to be almost done. Obviously, I'm not there yet because of Texas and stuff, but it's just like the months just seem to fly by now because it's just all we have. I mean, I told Billy going into it, I was like, we'll fall into a routine and you'll see sort of the timeline of how things fall into place.
Yeah.
And it works.
Right.
And once you sort of get into that groove, like I said, the weeks just go by so quick. It's crazy.
Yeah, you get a battle rhythm. That's what I like to call it. It's just like, all right, I got the flow going. That's yeah, I feel that. So then, what was your goal with the magazine? Out of pure curiosity, like in depth, for real, because it's very few people who are herpers and who like snakes and lizards and cold-blooded animals like we do, and are like, yo, I'm gonna make a fucking badass magazine. Some smart motherfuckers might write some books, but like, you guys came out of left field with a magazine, like, yo, get the fuck out of here, all you book writing motherfuckers. Like, here's this badass magazine.
A book would be a lot easier. I promise you that.
Yes.
So go ahead, Liz.
So, yeah, it was like, what was the purpose behind it, right? Like, what message were you guys hoping to hit at the people who are reading the magazine? Like, was there like an intent behind it or a goal of like what you guys were hoping to spread information on?
Billy.
All right, I'll take this one. Pretty much, we talked about this in depth before we did the first issue, and we pretty much decided we just wanted to put quality content out there. We both like we like books. We really like Reptiles Magazine. We felt like it kind of ran its course. There wasn't really a publication out there. And I mean, just with all the information everybody's faced now with the internet and all that, we just wanted to just put information out there. So like when I approach somebody to write for the magazine, some people get a little taken back on like, oh man, that's a huge deal. And I try to explain to them, we're just hobbyists. We're just making a publication for hobbyists. Yeah, right? Yeah, seriously. Like I know if I was on the other side and someone asked me, I'd be, I'd get hyped up about it too. I understand that part, but it's just a publication for hobbyists by hobbyists. That's how I explain it. There's really, besides that, we just want to leave the hobby better than what we found it. That's, I guess the goal would be that, and making it, free and digital and all that. Like, we just want to get content out there because there's so many awesome species that people don't even realize is around that, we've put out issues and then we get people with feedback saying, I didn't even know that was around. Now I'm looking into getting those or working with those or whatever. That's what it's all about for us anyway.
Yeah, that and the people. There's plenty of really awesome people out there that are doing really cool things that, maybe not, that aren't as active on social media and stuff like that. And so having those people who have their expertise where they've been working with the same species for a decade and they're like the guy or the girl, for that particular animal. It's like I want to be able to catalog that information so that, when there's a day that they're not around, none of us are around anymore, but that information is still there. It's still relevant and stuff like that. But Reptiles was kind of a sort of a big motivation for me. I subscribed to it for, I don't know how many years, as a kid. And then I just noticed come like mid 2000s, it kind of just seemed like it was sort of getting repetitive a little bit. And I eventually just didn't subscribe to it anymore because it just didn't really have anything that interested me. And I remember as a kid, like the all venomous issues and stuff, I used to get so pumped about that. And then that kind of like disappeared. And so I was like, we should, now that I was working in that field, I was like, we should bring something back that sort of encompasses the entire, the rare species, the common species, the uncommon species, everything in between. Like I wanted a publication that was helpful to not only people that are new to the hobby, but also people that have been in the hobby for 30 years. Like something that everyone can get something out of. And it was like Reptiles apparently now, like looking at some of the covers and stuff they've been putting out, it seems like they've sort of changed it up and they're sort of back to throwing a little more variety into the mix. But I mean, absolutely no disrespect or anything to Reptiles. It's just, I had the ability and I live and breathe this hobby, so it was one of those things where I always have to be doing something related to it. And it was good. The magazine was a good avenue to do that. So.
Damn, that's
awesome.
That's some good shit.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Billy, about leaving the industry better than what we found it. Right, and I think that is the goal that every breeder, keeper, hobbyist, however you're involved in the industry, should really strive for. Right, is always making it better than what you left it. So definitely, that is awesome. So how do you guys go about finding like people or topics for your articles, right? Like
we beg.
Yeah.
That's what we do to get people
yeah,
honestly.
I get that. I totally get that. And obviously there's a side of that too of making sure that the people that you're talking to and the information you're receiving is reputable, right? I mean, you're obviously not walking up to anyone that has an Instagram account with a tegu and going, "How do you take care of a tegu?"
Yeah, we're not hitting up people on Craigslist and saying, "Hey."
And writing through. So there's how do you guys source and validate kind of the information that you're putting into your magazines?
Well, it's the community herp magazine. So if anybody wants to write for it, feel free. Like, we get people message us on Instagram and stuff all the time saying, "Hey, you know, I had there's a young girl that wrote an article for us. She lives in Wyoming. She's like, I want to do an article on reptiles of Wyoming." It's like, I have no idea what reptiles are out there. I have an idea of what might be there, but I don't know for sure. So
right, yeah,
it's all submitted, you know, voluntarily by people. Usually, Billy and I will have an idea for a species we want to feature, and we either already know somebody that's working with that, or we know somebody that knows somebody. I mean, sometimes I will flat out just search on Instagram a hashtag for a certain species, scan through some profiles, see who seems to have a lot of that in particular, like has a heavy focus on that species in particular, and message them and kind of feel them out and see what they think. But regular contributors definitely help. You know, we've got Botswana Paul is what I call him now. You know, Phil Wolf, who I mentioned is like the third leg of the operation at this point. Nipper Reed in the UK has written a bunch of awesome articles. We've had some people from Austria and some other European countries write some stuff. And so it's not, getting the content isn't difficult. It's getting it regularly that's difficult. Because it's like a feast or famine thing. Like, there will be some months where we have a ton of content. It's like, great, we have to take some of this and push it to the next issue. And then we have times where we have like nothing, and we just have to start hunting people down. You know, people that we've talked to previously that were like, yeah, I want to do it, circle back. You know, so keeping track. It's kind of like herding cats. You know, it's a lot to keep track of.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
But Billy can attest, because Billy's done probably more hunting for content than I have. And it does get disheartening sometimes. Some people tell you they're gonna, and then they don't. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's why we had to beg and plead for you guys to be on our show, because everyone just everyone's like, man, you guys are fucking shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, I feel that though, but man, I wish I would have known, dude. I'm gonna start working on some articles and stuff.
We have a pretty open door policy. Like, our motto pretty much from the beginning has been, we won't turn down content. You know, unless it's like talking shit about somebody else, wildly inaccurate, or kind of like the snoot booping stuff.
Oh yeah.
Try to like stray away from that. I don't like to just like, I don't like to leave anybody out, but there are some things where we're like,
the goal.
What does this bring to the table? What does this give people? Like, what are people going to take away from this? You know?
Yes.
That's really good, because there's lots of times where I'm like, when I still, you know, I'm 30 years old and I've been fucking with reptiles for, I don't know, like 30 years, like as long as I can remember, and I'm still finding new species all the time. I'm like, oh, that's a badass snake. That's really fucking cool. But then when I want to find the information for it, sometimes, like Justin, you said you had Boegas, right? Right, so I just got into Boegas. I just got the Dendrophilia. So it was really hard for me to find info for that snake, dude. Like the whole
like detailed information, not just sort of the general thing, but like dealing with imports and treating and stuff like that. Dude. That is hard information to find. At least information that's current and information that's accurate. You know, you don't want to be reading an article on how to treat something that was written in 1998, and you go and perform some basement veterinary work and end up killing things. You know, there's not a lot of information about that kind of stuff. So I absolutely agree.
Yeah, no, and I think that's great that you could have people, you know, like I know Kevin at Nerd, he hatches out Boega, the divergence, like there's no tomorrow, man. He's hatching divergence out the ass, and so that would be a good dude to write an article on the Dendrophilia and the Boega in general. You know, that would be, so I think that's really cool. To the hard information to find, it could be out there in your magazines. And so, real quick, you guys tell people where they could find your magazine.
So we have a website where all the articles get posted. So they're not only, you can also read the magazine itself if you wanted to. It's on, if you go to herpetoculturemagazine.com, all the articles are there. You can read the issues. You can buy hard copies if you want to. We leave that as an option. So the magazine digitally is always going to be free. That's not going to change. And then hard copies, we had enough interest in people wanting hard copies that we found like a print on demand service where you can order hard copies. They get printed and shipped to you from a third party. So
oh, that's good shit.
that's all on herpetoculturemagazine.com.
That link is in the description down below under this video for the Herpetoculture Magazine website. But I think that's awesome, guys. I mean, you're putting all this time and effort and work. I mean, you're just donating your time to put this magazine together. I mean, guys, it's completely free online. You can see it anytime. I think that is awesome.
No comment, Andy.
Yeah, we're going to leave that one alone. We're going to leave that one alone, but I don't disagree.
They are. I found the Cyanea are ridiculously easy to breed, though.
I was just looking
if you do
into
plan on doing that,
yesterday.
they're not difficult snakes to breed at all. I found them to be probably some of the easiest I've ever bred, honestly.
Yeah, because I know the dendros are
Really
a real
not
pain in the ass. Yeah, I'm still having trouble with my dendro getting her to eat consistently. Anyhow, but if I can put it up to her mouth, man, she'll take it. She'll start chewing it down like a fresh cold right up to her mouth. Too easy. But if I put a fresh cold or a live or anything else in there, she ain't having it, bro. It's real pain in the ass, those fucking snakes. But they're really cool, man. I like.
Yeah, my male, they're pretty finicky, but if I leave a couple fuzzies in with my male, they'll be gone. But if I try to give him something frozen and just drop feed it, he doesn't want anything to do with it. So some of them are just difficult.
Yeah, that's it is what it is. But again, over time, with people putting good Boega information into your magazine, that could all change. Because that's the goal, right? Yeah,
we did so we had an article on Melanota, and then 2 issues ago, I did an article on breeding the Cyanea. And I'm sure we could get Nipper at some point to throw his hat into the ring because he's kept a ton of those species as well. And it's just that's the hardest thing too with content is people's schedules. You know, I can't get mad when people are literally like, people have lives, people have jobs, people have families. When someone's like, I want to write, but I just don't have the time. Like, it's like, that's cool. I get it. Like, I understand. You know, I can't get mad at anybody for not having the time or really wanting to devote the energy to doing it. You know, it's one of those things where it's me and Billy say it all the time, like it's a free magazine, you know, and no one can really complain if it's not costing anything. Like, if you don't like it, you want to change it, feel free to submit us some articles and make it better. Like,
right.
Yeah, dude. So do you guys have yearly subscriptions?
Did you guys? No. I've had people ask that, and I've looked into it as far as subscriptions and like auto mailing issues and stuff. I don't know. I'm semi-familiar with the logistics of the whole thing. It's just very expensive up front. So I've looked into it. I don't know when it'll actually happen, but you have to like upfront pay for all the printing, which means we have to make sure we know how many issues we need. We have all those addresses. You know,
you have to know the juice is already going to be worth the squeeze.
A lot of moving parts.
Before you even start, yeah.
Yes.
Oh damn! Fuck all that, man. No way. I'm just going to breed and sell ball pythons, dude.
And that's why the print-on-demand thing is so convenient, because if you can, if you want a certain issue, you don't have to buy them all. You can just buy that one.
Right.
You know, we have some people that seem to buy every issue. That's cool too. You know, we leave it up to readers. You know, read what you want to read, buy what you want to buy. No pressure.
Yeah, I like that because, you know, maybe you come out with an issue and I don't really have any interest in what particularly might be in that issue, but I want to print out Melanota because I like Melanota. You know, maybe I want that hard copy to always see, like in the Army, we always had a saying called check the checker, where it's like, okay, I know, and I'm going to check, but then I want to be able to double back, look at that book, and check again, right? Double tap that.
Trust but verify.
Yeah.
Dude, that's exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Trust but verify. Dude, yeah. No one ever, I can't believe you know what that is. No one knows what the fuck that is. But yeah, that's so. What then? What is the process for putting an issue together? Run us from start to finish, right?
I asked Billy what we have. Billy says nothing, and then it's like, okay, then let's start talking to people.
Every time.
Yeah, it's like
Every time.
because sometimes Billy will have some people he's been talking to that are, they got something they're working on, or they're taking their time with it, and so I'm like constantly taking inventory and like checking in, and I message Phil and Nipper, and I'm like, y'all got anything going around in this round? And it's usually no. And then I ask Billy, what do you got? Nothing. It's like, cool. The person like, Botswana Paul needs a medal, man, because that guy just sends me Dropbox folders full of articles and pictures. And I'm like, I wish I could use all these in one issue and not have to really hunt stuff down. So, I mean, it depends. I mean, once we have the content together, it kind of starts with, what do we have at the time? What do we want to be sort of the feature of it? We do try to change it up. I mean, we're both snake guys, so I feel like the magazine overall is a little more snake heavy. And that's just most of the people we know are in that realm already. But we do occasionally get amphibian and like Chelonian articles and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on what we have at the time. And it's one of those things, once again, where it's like, if people don't like that there's no Dart Frog content or anything like that, it's like, hunt someone down that's willing to write. Like, we'll put it in. It's just it's not on purpose that we don't have a lot of that stuff. It's just because we work with what we have on that given month. So it's finding that, laying out what we want to use, what needs to be moved to the next issue. And then it just starts with sort of the layout and the design. Like, I go through and change all the small stuff for each issue, like on the cover, like the month and the number. All the sort of the small stuff, background images and whatnot, and then deciding sort of where we want the articles to be placed. I'll start working on those, and then it's editing articles, going through and reading them and checking for anything grammatic or like layout wise, punctuation, all that stuff. Which all those articles, whoever sends it, they all get read over. I think Billy reads over some of them. I read over all of them. And it's just, I don't change the tone of anything that anybody sends me. It's literally just grammatical stuff, like small changes, sentence structures that maybe need to be switched around a little bit just to make them flow a little better. But I never change anything that's like written in there. When I started at the magazine, I was working here locally. I did an article on tarantulas, which kind of got me that job actually at that magazine, because it was a pet and wildlife magazine at the time. And I sent him that article, and he sent me back the draft after he had edited it, and he had changed some things and used some tones and stuff that I would never use. Like, when you read something from someone, everyone sort of has their own, just like their voice. They have a tone and they have a cadence of things. And he had added stuff into that article that I would have never used. And so I kind of sent it back to him, and I was like, I don't talk like this. Like, this isn't. And I guess you can kind of see it, like when an article or something is written one way, and then all of a sudden there's like a half a paragraph that's a completely different vibe than the rest of the article. It's kind of obvious someone tweaked with it. Yeah. And so I make a conscious effort to make sure that I'm not doing that. Even with the spelling of like color and favorite with like European guys and whatnot, where they have the U, I don't change any of that. Yeah, all that stays the same. So I don't like to mess with things a whole lot. I like to keep it simple and keep it pretty raw.
So then, Justin, you're basically like the editor, sort of. Mm-hmm. Then, okay, Billy, what do you do, man?
See, this is why I was telling you I wasn't the big dog like you thought before.
Damn.
I was
You
being
just
honest.
You just bringing in the content. That's it.
For the time being, I'm trying to get more into the programs and stuff. It's easier for Justin to go all in on the editing part and layouts and all that, since he did come from that realm. Since I was just a random hobbyist and said, hey, yeah, let's do this thing, let's figure it out on the fly. So I've done some articles myself, I've done some editing. It's just a slow process, baby steps, and especially with the stuff that Justin puts out, it's big shoes to fill. So I want to, I don't want people to see an article and be like, oh yeah, Billy definitely did that one.
Oh shit!
Doesn't look like his does.
And I mean, I will say, like, out of all the stuff that we've gotten over the last, it'll be 2 years in October.
Wow.
I think November. Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
Like people can write. Like, I mean, obviously it's not going to be like Nobel Peace Prize level stuff, but it's not, I usually don't have to do a whole lot with a lot of the stuff people send in, which is A, impressive, and B, really nice. We're in a time when people don't really write a whole lot outside of social media and stuff like that. And I know, like, reading physical copies of anything is really declined over the years too, with technology and stuff moving. But it's nice, especially when I get an article where I have to do almost nothing to it. It's like, this is great.
It's amazing how well people can write about something they're passionate about. Right? It's way different than like book reports or like other crap that you had to do in like school or college or whatever, right? Where it's like, great, I have to read this really dumb book and then write a paper on it. You can definitely tell when someone's writing something that they are happy to be writing or passionate about, or because they don't forget those almost little details that make an article so much better than just like, all right, I'm sitting here and typing this out. I don't give a crap. you know?
I mean, you would think getting as many articles and stuff as we have over the last 2 years that some of it, or a decent chunk of it, would require sort of a lot of perusing and a lot of adjustment. But surprisingly, that hasn't been the case.
That's awesome.
You guys ever like print out a fuck ton of copies of your shit and go buy a table at a show and just be like, yo, buy my fucking magazine?
That's what we're going to be doing at Daytona.
Oh, dude, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I think that'll be great. I bet you'll get a lot of kids. Because what I see with shows, I just try to have something for the kids, right? Is like the parents come in and they bring their whole family. They got like 5 kids, right? And the kids are like, Mom, I want something from the show. It's like, you don't want to buy each of them an animal because at the end of the day, parents have to take care of it, right? And even like a lot of the like stuffed animals and stuff, it's like, I can buy you this $5 toy that's going to break in like a day. You're going to forget about it by the time we get home, right? So I will be interested to see with the magazine. I mean, it's going to be something kids want because it looks professional. You get lots of pictures. Like I know as a kid, I was huge about it. Yeah, it's colorful. Pictures. And parents are going to be like, okay, cool. This is something that they want, but it's also educational in a way too, right? Like whether they're truly sitting down and reading the whole article or just able to say like, hey, I know that that's a green tree python, or I know that that is, a boega or whatever whatever is on in the magazine. It'll be, I think that's a good idea. I think you'll get a lot of those types of interest in it on top of hobbyists and breeders as well.
Yeah. It's kind of a funny story with that, the kids thing too, is I think with that very first issue, we really, and Billy's going to tell me it didn't happen, but I think we really shot ourselves in the foot because that first issue, I was like, I'm not really going to cater this to like a younger crowd. If someone has language or something in an article, whatever, GQ does it. Why can't we? And you see, if you look at the stats, there was a very, very large spike when that first issue dropped. And it could just be because it was the first issue and people were checking it out. But we haven't had that spike since. And I think, and we also got some comments and some messages about it, about the language in it. And so after that, I was like, yeah, let's keep it clean. And Bill, like I said, I think it it's affected us since day one. Billy doesn't. I don't think Billy thinks that that's the case, but I have since redone that issue completely. Like completely.
We get a lot of feedback, good and bad. On
Yeah,
that one,
redesigned it
so.
from scratch
Wow.
and uploaded it and edited it and put it back up. So they're all clean now. So
Damn,
Awesome.
that's
it was
good
a
shit.
stupid move on my part in particular. So I was like, it'll be fine, man. You got Nipper, writing articles about, who the fuck am I to say who knows how to herp and who doesn't? And I was like,
I get that though. It almost would be interesting to see, and obviously you guys are doing this for free, but if you almost did like a kids version and an adult version at some point or something like that, which again, I think that would be more leading to if you guys ever decide to take this on like a true business aspect. I could see where, again, awesome that you guys are just doing this all literally for the community, for people to be allowed to write articles and gain information. But yeah, it would kind of be interesting at some point if you ever went down that road to see if you did like a kids version and an adult version almost, right? Where it was like, this is for the adults to read, and then you would have the kids. It'd be interesting to see what indifference
I would
as far as like age of readers and stuff you had.
I would like a coloring book. For
Yeah.
real. Like you
it's
turn
been
the
thought
page.
about.
Yeah, and it's like, you got
Like
your
a coloring page.
scientific name and your commonality name and
Yeah.
the species, a picture of the species, and it's like you color it in. That would be fucking badass, man. A good way to
Crossword
learn.
puzzles, mazes, all the games,
Mhm.
but all the games in it,
Dude,
right?
I would buy that. So fucking
Yeah.
like,
Another thing that I think a lot
You
of
could
people
totally
like
put a
is-
word search in there.
Yeah,
There'd be an app where you can make a word search.
Oh, there's a website. It's
Yeah.
super easy. You put the words in that you want, and then it generates it, and then you just, copy them, like you print it out, or for you probably, screenshot it.
Writing
and
it
put
down
on
right
there.
now.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
word search
use
would be
the-
interesting. Crossword
use the
puzzles.
snippet
There's all
tool.
kinds of free generators. But as far as the kid thing goes too, I think a lot of people don't think about, but I think about a lot with like comic books and magazines and things like that. Yeah, like comic book style is for like school projects, right? Like I can remember cutting up all kinds of different, like getting the pictures out, cutting them up and gluing them on there and stuff. So I think offering a hard copy is definitely useful, like how you guys are doing now.
And I feel a little bad because the website has you can't copy text and you can't download pictures because we have some professional photographers that have graciously let us use their work without for free.
Yeah.
And so I was always concerned like someone's going to steal this off the website. So I put an app on there or a plugin that basically stops people from doing that. And then I realized as I was doing that, all the kids that are doing book reports and stuff, I just screwed and forced them to have to actually manually write stuff instead of just copy and paste it into their reports.
Sucks to suck, nerd. Fucking sucks to suck.
I was like, hey, if you're going to get that A, you're going to earn it, damn it.
It's all good. Use the snipping tool. You snip, capture it. You take it into something, remove background, put it on. You're good to go. Works like a charm.
If they're going to put in that much work, they deserve it. Go
Right?
for it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I was originally I just did it for the
Exactly.
pictures. Like I didn't know that it did it for text too. Otherwise, I would have just left that be. But
No, I feel that. Fuck yeah.
I was just worried because it's so easy for people to steal pictures and stuff now. And Zach Kerr has provided us with a ton of pictures and some other guys and stuff. And I'd feel really bad if they found their work somewhere else and it was because it got ripped off of our website when they let us use it. So.
Oh no, I totally agree. I think it's awesome that you thought about that. Right? Like that's almost like a side of things you don't think about that goes into doing something like this, is just being like, hey,
well, the photographers put in a ton of work, and
oh yeah,
I know they already get pictures ripped off from stuff all the time. I didn't want to be an addition to it, another avenue.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So do you guys have any competition then? As far as like real no real competition?
I don't consider any other publications to be competition. Like I said, it's a free magazine. I think it's the internet. There's space for everybody. If if people have a subscription to Reptiles and then they go and read ours, like that's awesome. Like if they don't read ours, they just have a subscription to Reptiles. That's awesome too. Like it's people can do whatever they want. You know, it's one of those things where we're gonna do what we do and put out what we put out. And if people want to read it, they can read it. It's just there. You know, it exists. If people want it, they can. You know, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to. Like we have a Patreon and stuff too, which I don't push a whole lot. It's because I don't, you know, there's already enough stuff out there where there's constantly pushing for people trying to, you know, people just want a couple dollars here and there or whatever. And there's just so much of that going on now. I feel bad sort of being like, hey, you know, I know you're a Patreon for these 20 other people, you know, let me get a piece of that. You know, it's one of those things. If they want to, they want to. If they don't, they don't. You know, it's
those Patreon
to be optional.
Yeah, those Patreon subscriptions add up quick, and you got $20 a month to 20 different people, right? You know, if someone did want to get onto your Patreon, what kind of content are you guys providing over there?
So I've been wanting to sort of reevaluate what we offer the patrons. I mean, right now we have like a $3, $5, and $10 tier, and that's it. Like I really wasn't going for like $50 gets you, you know, a centerfold of me naked.
Yeah, boy.
You know, I didn't want anything like that. I just kept it simple. But I do want to figure out a way to, and this is it. The whole thing's very frustrating when you're sort of on a schedule as far as releasing things. Like in order for me to give people early access that are Patreons to the magazine, I then have to delay the actual release or get it done earlier. Yep. Both of which I'm not particularly fond of. One requires extra work on our part, which is probably the route I'd end up going with. But you know, it's sort of when you're at the mercy of the schedule of release and stuff like that, and trying to keep it consistent, it can make it hard when you have to adjust things like that. So I do want to, like I said, right now I don't post on there a whole lot. It's literally just an avenue where people they want to support the magazine some way or another, other than readership. That's there. It's just been a matter of taking the time to figure out what exactly we can do to make it more worthwhile for the people supporting it.
So do you guys like write your own articles by chance?
Mm-hmm.
Like for every issue, like most of the time?
Not every issue. Yeah, I mean, Billy's probably written more than I have.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to send you guys. So I only breed and feed African soft furs.
Mm-hmm.
And have for 6 years. And I have bred other, you know, feeder rodents and shit. I'm totally going to submit you guys an article on my experience on the effects of my animal, of like what happened when I switched them all over.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff we love. Like we really do aim to find topics like that just come at the hobby from a slightly different angle.
Yep.
You know, like not just care articles. You know, we get a lot of those. Like Reptiles does a lot of those. We try to change it up a little bit. You know, we do like the 5 herp room must-haves. So we ask random people for their top 5 things that they use in their herp room. You know, there could be things that you may not have thought of, like some off-the-wall sort of things. You know, we do like some book reviews, we do product reviews, and the products are they're not even just herp-specific stuff, like the Wise cams, the Cam Pam things that you use in your rooms. Riley Jemison did a review on those that he used, and I got one and love it. Some of the stuff from David Brahms at Specialty Enclosure Designs, who's a good buddy of mine. You know, a lot of his stuff gets reviewed. Even the ARS rack behind Billy there, like he did a review on that. I did I use a pure water filter for my water and my animals in my snake room, and so I did a review on that and how I liked it. And just if it's anything that's relating to the hobby, whether it's in some sort of utilitarian capacity where you're using it for your animals physically, or if it's just something that you have that you like, you know, if it's related to the animals of the hobby in some capacity, like we're cool with it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. People do stuff like people. So something I do that blows a lot of people's minds. So I'm on Reptichip. I've been on Reptichip for like since 2014, right?
Mhm.
Like as far as my coconut-based bedding, Liz is a Reptile vendor, and I was in the army with JT, the owner of Reptile, so I'm pretty loyal,
Mhm.
right, to Chip. So
Yeah.
something I do is I have a deep freezer, a small one,
Mhm.
and when I buy my Reptile in bulk, it all goes in the deep freezer. I freeze it all for at least 90 days.
Okay.
And then I have so I'm, you're a cigar connoisseur.
Mhm.
I am a tea connoisseur. So I have an electric teapot that like will heat my water to 187 degrees like that.
Right.
So I heat that up and then I put Prevenamite on top of my Reptile and then put that hot ass water in that
No
wok
survivors.
that's been frozen for 90 days. Yeah. So there's no way. Like I feel very comfortable. Bacteria, protozoas, anything fungal, viral,
Mhm.
any sort of what the fuck ever in there is toast, man.
See,
I
and
don't
that's like
play.
that's the kind of tips and stuff that we love to include because people are always, you see it in Facebook groups all the time. I got a bag of cypress mulch. I don't want to put it in my oven because A, it's messy. B, it's you don't know what's in there. Like people are always looking for ways to make things easier. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking, I know. When not knocking Freedom Breeder, Freedom Breeder's awesome, dude. I think they make some of the best rack products, if not the best rack products in the industry. But they came out with that cocoa block shaker to clean your coconut-based substrate, like get all the dust off of it and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I've been doing that with the spaghetti strainer for like 7 years. Like, get the fuck out of here with your $500 stainless steel spaghetti strainer, man.
It's like half the products in PetSmart that are all things you get at Dollar Tree.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
You could go to
Just because it has a snake on the label doesn't mean that it's made specifically for that. It's like, come on. Like, I'm all about Dollar General, Dollar Tree, like water bowl.
Yep. Yes. I worked for a Petco for a little while, and it's like we still sell heat rocks and no thermostats. Like there is something wrong here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, the aspen. I mean, you can get the giant brick of aspen that has a rodent on the package for $14. Yep. You go 2 aisles over to the reptile aisle, and it's got a milk snake on it, and it's like literally like a tenth of that amount for the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
So if you watch, I can't remember if it was Trap Talk or Unfiltered, but MJ had on Ryan McVeigh, which Liz, did you see the VivTech new product, the light bulb, when you were in Charlotte?
Did. I actually bought two.
Yo, those shits look fucking badass. So
yeah, go.
To stay on topic, so Ryan McVeigh was talking in that podcast about how every year he goes to this huge convention and there's representatives from the headquarters of like PetSmart, Petco, and all these huge big companies that work with animals. ZooMed, Zilla's there, all Exoterra, all that shit. And he's like, man, the headquarters bosses in Petco and PetSmart, they actually give a shit. They're like, we really do want the best care for these animals. But they don't have a
where's the breakdown?
Company-wide, this is where the breakdown happens, There's not a company-wide standard like people thought, like a corporate standard on keeping every species. It's actually by store.
It's by store manager.
By store manager.
Yep.
And what they have. So a lot of store managers, like if I come in and I'm a fish guy, I'm going to know everything I need to know about taking care of those fish, so I might be able to improve that. But if I don't know anything about the reptiles, because they all carry like leopard geckos and bearded dragons, blue-tongued skinks now are coming in a lot.
Chameleons, tortoises,
iguanas, also Chinese. I've seen Chinese water dragons.
Boas, some have boas now, ball pythons, corn snakes.
Yeah, like so much.
A huge assortment of different stuff. And it's all run by store manager, gets to set the stipulations, but then they have like their department heads, right? So a lot of times your store managers, they don't know anything about whatever, reptiles, fish, whatever they're talking about. They kind of, fall on the department head. So if you don't have a good department head, which a lot of them are teenagers, I mean, let's be honest, that are getting their information off Wikipedia, So yeah, it can be a little rough, and that's why, I don't ever try to group like all Petcos or all PetSmarts in as like a whole, right? Because there's definitely
there's good ones and there's not great ones.
But there's definitely some that are not.
Yeah. I have heard that Petco is a little easier to work for because they give you a little more control as far as like the care parameters. Everything I've heard about PetSmart is like, here's a binder with information, here's how it needs to be done. You don't get to stray from this like at all.
Yes.
100%.
I don't know how true that still is, if that's changed or not, but I had a friend who worked at PetSmart and then she went to Petco, and she's like, Petco's so much better because I can actually make the changes and the things that need to happen that benefit that species.
I've heard the exact same thing.
Yeah, Petco is definitely better. I was a dog groomer, so I didn't work directly with the reptiles, but I've not worked for PetSmart, but known lots of people that still do, and it is exactly that way. I mean, they have their ABCD, this is how we do things, you don't stray from it. Petco definitely has, plus PetSmart is a breedist pet store, which I find kind of contradictive, but don't agree with either. Like, they don't let bully breeds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, Shepherds, like any of that stuff in there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't get them. Can't get them groomed there. Can't get them. You can't bring them into the store. They can't go to puppy playtime. Like none of that stuff.
How many Chihuahuas did you get bit by?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Look at this vicious pit bull.
Yeah, I groomed a pit bull before I groomed a Chihuahua.
So yeah,
look at that.
I don't support PetSmart at all for that reason alone. Just
my grandma had a Chihuahua, and that thing was the devil.
Who's my good boy?
God, that thing was a vicious little football with legs.
Who's my best buddy?
But yeah, so they are very much breeders. I've gone into a PetSmart with my 3-legged pit bull and been asked to leave. And he's a boxer mix. He's not even really a pitty, but he looks very pitty. They're like, you can't bring that dog in here. I'm like,
should have said he identifies as a boxer. He's not a pit bull.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's more boxer than he is pit bull. How dare you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
did you just assume my dog's breed?
Yeah,
Like,
it identifies as a Shih Tzu. I don't know what you're talking about.
I bought it as a lab.
Yeah,
I was lied to.
Exactly.
Someone told me this was a poodle.
Oh man. So do you guys ever put anything other than? I mean, the answer is probably no. But anything other than herpetoculture in your magazine? Do you ever put anything like maybe something like mammal conservation? Due to deforestation or anything like that, or is it? It's very strictly
we get
reptiles.
Botswana Paul writes a lot of invertebrate articles, which I throw in because I feel like those, especially like tarantulas and scorpions and stuff, that those two hobbies go hand in hand.
Yeah, you see them in shows.
There was a point where I kept a ton of scorpions and tarantulas almost exclusively, and so it's a natural fit. There's a very good chance that if people are keeping herps and stuff, they probably have either kept or are keeping invertebrates to some capacity.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know. I live in Oklahoma, man. So if one day I wake up and there's tarantulas and scorpions just in the kitchen, like I'm just like, all right, well, this is gonna put you outside now.
Yeah, it's funny because when we were in Texas, me and Phil both are like invert guys, so we like all the spiders and scorpions and stuff, and we were with the NPR guys, and they're not into that stuff at all. And so we're finding scorpions and tarantulas and we're like, oh, this is really cool. And they're like, what is it? And it's like, it's an Aphonopelma. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a tarantula.
It's a spider.
But then they find some species of tantilla that I don't even know exist. And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, it's a tantilla. There's like a, what's the guy's name? Hobart Smithy, I think is what the species was. I don't know, some Texas herpetologist that was around for.
Yeah.
It was really cool looking. We have some tantilla here, but they don't look anywhere near as neat as those do. So,
damn, that's fucking very cool.
Little tiny centipede eating snakes.
Dude, hell yeah, that's badass. Brian, do you have anything other than herps too? Do you have any inverts or anything?
I don't.
No. You don't have dogs or cats or nothing, just straight reptiles.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, I have
he's got
dogs.
a ton of dogs.
Oh,
I have
yeah?
dogs.
How many?
Yeah, I got We'll say 3, and
3.5.
like 3.5. I got a Basset Hound.
3/4. How does or 2 and 3/4?
All right.
Cat dog.
Basset Hound, Hound mix, and another Hound mix. I'm a Hound guy for sure.
Oh yeah, I can see
Nice.
that.
I have a Doberman Coonhound mix.
Nice. Yeah, that's what my Hound mixes are Coonhound mixes.
Nice. Yeah, she gets that nose gets her in lots of trouble.
Thanks, Miguel.
Hey, it's Miguel. Miguel's he's an invert guy. He's got a lot of tarantulas and stuff too. So
Yeah, that's
Miguel's
awesome.
a beauty snake guy, is what
That
Miguel
too.
is.
he has very good taste.
Ooh.
Did you guys follow Alex the Critter Catcher by chance on Instagram?
Can't say I do.
I think I've seen some of it, but I don't.
I
follow
bet
it.
Alex, yeah, you guys. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put you guys in contact with him. He will write you. Oh God, Alex
Anything
will
you
write
want.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex will write you an article. He'll write you a couple articles a month, dude. He's awesome. So he's a buddy of mine in Southern California, and he was like sort of in a weird place in his life. You know, he was in his early 20s, and he was talking to me, and he was in that weird place where like you're trying to sort of find yourself, and you know, you hate your fucking job, but you got to work to pay the bills. And I was like, you know, and as a hobby, like for free, he was already doing venomous snake removal from people's houses just to save the snakes. I was like, bro, quit your job and do that as your full-time job. And that's what he did. And but he has so many inverts, dude. Like as far as pets, he has straight inverts, nothing but venomous species. Actually, I think he might have one colubrid.
Yeah, I think he does.
I
Yeah.
think he has one colubrid, and that's it. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna put you guys in contact with my buddy Alex. He is the shit, and you guys will love him. He'll give you a lot of good info.
Yeah,
So
like I
how
said, I'm
much-
pretty sure I've seen some of his stuff at one point or another. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's super big into conservation, education. He's one of those guys, like, he doesn't put himself out there as much as he does the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole time, if you watch his informational videos, he'll be like, pick this up. Like, all right, this is a fucking, you know, an Atrox, and, you know, some lady called me and I came here. I'm going to pick it up, and then it'll just give you some quick, cool facts about the animal.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll be like, all right, now we're going to go safely relocate this animal. And he shows like how he safely takes it. And he's so passionate, man. He's one of those guys, like, straight raw love for those animals. He couldn't kill a snake. Like, he would cry if he ever had to, you know, even have one put down. Man, he loves his
Rattlesnakes
animals.
never get old, man.
I know, but he loves his tarantula. You got to see his tarantula collection is fucking badass.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm gonna put you.
There's a lot of really cool species out there, man. That's a very slippery slope.
I'm gonna send you, Liz, if you want to take it for a
Very
minute.
easy to go from
Yeah,
one
for
spider
sure.
to 50.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you his info right now via Insta, because he's that like.
And it's because you can keep so many of them in such a small amount of space. That's the problem.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. We would talk about getting into the inverts and stuff. You know, there's so much available now in the tarantula and invert world.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I remember maybe seeing, like, especially even like your isopods and stuff too, you know, which we've got a few of. But I remember seeing like
Mm-hmm.
one or maybe two tables at like the big NARBC shows that actually had inverts, right? You know,
That's
and
neat.
now they're just everywhere. Like, it's so cool to see all the different species, and I feel like that is kind of happening
Yeah.
with lots of different reptiles too. You know, there's a lot more variety that is a little more readily available, which is good and bad,
Mhm.
right? Because you have to know who you're sourcing these
Right.
readily available animals through. So
Yeah,
But,
I think people are starting to branch out a little more, and people are starting to get into, like ball pythons are still as popular as ever, but I think people are now kind of starting to look around and see some other species that catch their interest and trying them out.
Oh yeah,
and seeing how they go.
definitely, for sure. Have you noticed that at all, Billy? In like the carpet game, is it more popular or less? Or
I think the carpets are more popular now, but I've been into carpets for 15 years, so I got into them like before a lot of the morphs came into play. When it was literally just tigers, jags, and red coastals. Now there's a whole bunch of morphs. I won't go into all that, but I've definitely seen, since I got into it to how it is now, a bigger influx. It's funny seeing the different camps of people that keep certain species. Like the carpet guys will usually branch out into green trees or scrubs or liasis, white lips, stuff like that.
The closest things to carpets that aren't carpets.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you got, your ball python guys that, you guys go into, I don't know, Angolan. I don't know. I'm not a ball python guy. But, no offense.
It's funny that you say that. We've got boas, sperms, olives, white lips.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Ball python people are just like, we are very, how do I put this? I want to say we have a lot of money in snakes, right? Which means we're coming up with a lot of money to buy expensive snakes somehow. So, ball python people, I think based off of our personality, usually is how we get into other species. Like I got into Boega. I want all the Boega. I want.
They're so cool,
dude. I love them. I want everything Boega I could possibly get. I want white lips. I would like some basins, and I would probably like some Biocs. And I think for snakes, and hogs, I think I would fuck with hognose just because I am a morph guy, and every year there's like a new morph of hognose coming out. So,
well, I was gonna say it seems like ball python guys too. They branch out into the colubrid game. It seems like the North American stuff. Northern South American stuff.
We like pretty colors. That's the
ball
ball python.
Yeah. We're like fucking crayon eaters, dude. Snake has pretty colors.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all like that.
Yeah.
The first bit when the banana ball python comes out. Oh my god, it's orange and lavender and pink and purple. Here's $150,000 for this fucking ball. It's a ball python. No matter what morph it is, I was just talking to Liz about this. The longer we've been doing this show, right? The more people, because we try not to have ball python people on, even though that's the majority of our audience. And I learn a lot myself the more we have other people on who specialize in other species. And as I learn more about conservation, I feel worse about breeding ball pythons because I'm just recreating the same fucking species when we've lost, so many amazing species over the past 30 years, amazing monitors, big monitors, big snakes, like incredible species. And no one was breeding those. Yeah. Why? We can't ever get them back now.
It's because it's funny how cyclical sort of the hobby gets, especially with sort of those oddball species. Like the one species that comes to mind, I think the most for people is savu pythons. 20 years ago, those were not hard to find. Like they couldn't give those things away. And now, because I think it's that bubble, it grows and grows and grows, and then it pops, and then it never comes back to blow up again. It kind of depends. I think there's a certain mathematical formula, I'm sure, that requires a certain amount of people to be working with and breeding and wanting that species to keep it sort of at least in the outer rim of the hobby and stuff, so that when it does come further inward, then they're available for people. But it's
I think of my Maclot pythons too, same thing, maybe not as drastic as the savus, Those used to be everywhere, in the 90s, early and mid 90s. Now there's only a handful of us messing with them, but they're starting to gain popularity again. Ring pythons too. Those used to be $20. Now, good luck.
Yeah. Ring
good luck
pythons.
trying to find those. It's just like Smitty said, it's a cyclical thing that happens. But I've always wondered why people don't. It does.
Yeah.
People get exposed to those species, and it garners interest in them, and then it kind of helps keep them afloat.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But with how many species are out there, like you can find something that's not exactly what you're working with that works in your conditions, and maybe have that offshoot project. If you have 100 snakes, why not have a 2.2 group of something that maybe is just different but can do well in your conditions. We talk about, in our circle at least, we talk about Indo shutting down all the time. That's been something that's been on the horizon for years now. Who knows when it'll happen? It could happen tomorrow. It could never happen. But just think of all the common species that we take for granted that come out of Indo for the pet trade. And if they shut down tomorrow, well,
prices
we'll never
are going to
see
skyrocket.
Again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those $400 Beox it shows are now going to be probably $800 plus.
Oh, easy.
When you shut off the faucet like that, everything like poplin carpets.
If you can even find them at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, poplin carpets have gone up in price a lot since they've become more popular. But think about if we don't have availability of those anymore, like it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, it's supply and demand.
I think of like even lower end, like tokays and that genus, the white lines and golden geckos, the stuff that's like $10 now. What happens if they shut down and we never see those again? We treat them like a trash species now, and then 10 years from now, everybody wants them, but we can't get them.
Can't get them. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what happened with Madagascar, is it not?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened.
I'm telling you, man, it's only a matter of time, because once you start shutting down certain things, like so if you shut down Indo, right, it's also going to be hard to get a lot of stuff from Thailand, Malaysia, and a lot of the surrounding area, right? For example, and I mean, look at Australia. Like we can't ever get anything in again. So what we have is what we have. The gene pool we have is the gene pool we have. That's it, dude.
To a point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
To a point.
To a point.
I have a prediction. I think Australia will eventually open back up. I just don't know that it will be in our lifetime. Like if it does, me and Billy are going to be old.
Yeah,
we'll be 90. We'll be like, finally, we can get those imbricata we've always wanted.
And I think there'll be restrictions on like who can get what, right? I don't know if it'll ever be completely open export again. Just like, whatever you find is what you get.
Yeah,
well, there's clearly stuff finding its way in because you got people finding corn snakes in their yard in Australia.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They've always been there. Come on now.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So how much? I want to know how much it costs to make one magazine.
In time or money?
Both.
Yeah, both. Let's say you're getting.
I mean, money wise, it's.
No, go ahead. Yeah, let's say you're getting paid minute.
Yeah, it's
what, $12 an hour, right? Because I think your time is worth. Everyone's time is worth something, So let's say you're getting paid $12 an hour for your time.
It's so I think I did the math, and I mean what we have coming in versus what goes out is we pretty much break even month to month.
Good.
It's a lot of time. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, it is advertiser driven. We don't have a lot of advertisers. I really haven't pushed it or really shopped it around a whole lot. I did in the beginning, kind of, but it's kind of hard to go to advertisers and be like, hey, you want to give us some money? And then they'd be like, okay, what do your numbers look like? And it's like, well, we just put out our first issue and it's got like 100 views.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So it's one of those things. I wanted to build it and get a decent following before I went and started you know, trying to get people to support it financially. And even then, it's one of those things where I was going to limit it. I had the idea of limiting it as far as ad space, because I cannot stand seeing magazines where you open it up and it's 90% ads and 10% content.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's the point? Like, why? If I was an advertiser, I wouldn't even be advertising that. It's like, I'm not going to get seen. Like, you're going to put me on a page with 20 other ads. People are just going to keep scrolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I try to position it to where it's like, there's not a ton of advertisers, but the advertisers that are in there are getting eyeballs. Like, they are getting seen. Yeah. They are getting, you know, they're not fading into the background of all the other bullshit.
So how many, like, do you ever have a goal for how thick you want your magazine to be? Like, or are you like, all right, so we got like 20 pages of content this month?
Billy laughs at me. Why does Billy laugh?
We have different opinions on this. Yeah, we have different opinions on this.
All right, so Billy, what's your opinion, Billy?
Mine's changed. So I'll explain.
Okay.
So Smitty earlier talked about how he would reach out to me to see what I have content-wise, right?
Yes.
I learned early on that if he said, hey, I have X amount of articles and, you know, I give 1 or 2 and that gives us, let's say 4 to 5 articles, and then we'll have our regular pieces like our product review, book review, industry spotlight, stuff like that. That's going to get us around 30 to 40 pages usually. If I tell Smitty everything I have, he wants to put it all in that issue there. He wants everyone to be, you know, 60, 70, 80 pages. Like, we got it. Let's do it. You know, send it. Let's do it.
That's a big magazine.
This explains a lot.
Yeah. So I learned that if I have a lot of stuff coming in, I'll hold on to stuff, and then I won't tell them about it. And then I'll, you know, release it.
I have no idea about this until now, just so you know.
Yeah, I just let a secret out, guys. So you got it out of me. But
no, that's a good
you
friend.
have more.
That's a good fucking friend right there, man.
Yeah.
He talks me off the ledge a lot. There's a lot of times where I'm like, dude, we need to do this, this, and this, and he's like, no. I'm like, okay.
I tell him all the time, like, it's maybe it's cliche or whatever, but it's a free magazine, you know, like, it doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be this thing. It's just for people that want to see information. If we're putting out quality information, if one issue is 30 pages and the next 2 or 40, 50 pages, awesome. If they're all 20 pages, that's fine too, you know?
Yeah,
it's just about getting the info out there.
Is that like
I don't like 20 pages. Yeah. It has changed for me though. And that's because Justin, like at first we had a lot of content coming in. So I was like, hell yeah, man, pack that thing out. I think the biggest issue is like 63 pages.
Whoa.
Which to me didn't seem that big, but apparently everyone else is like, that's huge. Because like to me, a big magazine is like Vogue is a big magazine to me. Like that's big. That's like 100 pages.
Yeah.
So maybe my perception of it is a little skewed. But as we've gone month to month and things have progressed, I've realized that it is probably better to pace ourselves. And so now, like the issues the last, I don't know, year or so have been pretty consistent to stay around between 40 and 50, usually more towards 40. So, but I understand. Like, I get it. We can pace ourselves. It's nice to have some stuff ahead of time because it only makes my life harder when, like, we're struggling, and now I'm like asking Billy to like hunt people down and hit people up and circle back, and so I understand now where Billy is coming from. But originally, it was like, dude, like pack it out, like make it a freaking book every month.
I mean, it's also a attention span thing, I think. You know, like when you make a YouTube video, like you never want your YouTube video to be like, you want it to be like between like 6 and 13 minutes or something, because the human attention span, like 20 minutes is like asking a lot for kids these days, right? So fucking when I was a kid, I would just hit a tree with the same stick for 2 hours.
Yeah, and I mean my thing in that aspect is the people who want to take the time to read it and consume these things, like be it podcasts or magazine articles and whatnot, they're gonna do it. Like those are the people that it's if someone doesn't feel like reading, that's fine. Like we're catered to the people that want to find and read that information.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
If people don't want to take the time to read it, then that's on them. I don't have a Cliff Notes version to give you. It's just
guys. Yeah, fuck them. They don't want to read them. Fuck them. You guys ain't about the magazine. Hey, fuck you. Get the fuck off this channel. I'll punch you in the face. So that's it. From now on, I'm just gonna start every time I vend a show. I'm putting Herpetoculture magazines all over the place. I'm buying fucking the stacks of Herpetoculture magazine stickers.
Billy does handle all the merch. Billy handles t-shirts and decals. So if you want to, he's the man to talk to.
So do you guys have
I get you.
Yeah.
Do you guys
he makes them all in-house?
Oh, you make them. I was gonna ask if you guys have a storefront here, or you make them all in-house for real.
He's right here. No,
right.
Other way.
It's opposite. There we go.
There you go.
There you go. Right here.
There you go.
I do it too all the time.
It's
like
there we go. There I am.
There we go. Yeah. So so you make it all, Billy. You make it all yourself in-house.
Yes. Yeah.
You like?
Yeah.
And they come out very nice too.
You like screen print stuff and all that good shit.
It's more heat press. I do heat press stuff, and then I just make final decals and stuff. Nothing super crazy yet. I'm working my way up, but like I make all the shirts and stuff for the magazine and for a lot of our friends. If they want shirts done and stuff, because like if you go to Teespring, they sell the shirt for $25. You get $3 from it. I found places where we can get.
And the quality's not
shirts.
That great either. I've noticed it's pretty like you can have two people order the same shirt. The colors aren't going to be the same. I've noticed some of the graphics like eventually within like 2 or 3 washings start to kind of disintegrate and like So when Billy told me he was doing the heat press thing, I was like, oh man, because I just remember high school and like people getting those heat printed pictures of their friend that died or something, and it's like this weird giant panel and it like and I was like, oh man. No, but like they come out really well and they hold up really well. I think my Nephruris shirt that's Phil's Instagram, like that's now after a year of being washed and worn regularly, it's now just starting to kind of crack a little bit and stuff. But even then, it's not really all that noticeable. So they hold up very well and they look good too. So
damn, that's good shit. I have storefront here, and it usually does pretty well. I make like. I think I sell each shirt for $20. I make like $6 a shirt. It just goes right into my PayPal.
And I used Teespring for a while too, and it did the job for the time being. But now that Billy's doing it, I just tell Billy like whatever you want to do, dude.
Yeah, fuck Teespring. Awesome. We got Billy's, man.
I mean, we got from making $3 a shirt. So where if I make one, it's anywhere from $12 to $15 profit, from a shirt.
But we can also sell them. We can also sell them cheaper to people because we're doing that too. We have we get them at a cheaper price than what they would be ordering them online. So.
Oh fuck yeah! See, that's all you guys need. Go to the show, set up the table, put some fucking magazines and merch and shit out there.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Put like a Boo-foo on there. Buy us, fuck you. How about that?
I can make it.
There you go. I fucking love that. Yeah, you really can. You can make your own vinyl tablecloth for your table. Buy us, fuck
That's
you.
what we're gonna do.
That's it.
That's it. It's all very bootstrap, DIY.
Yeah, we all start out that way, man. It was years before I've been breeding consistently for 7 years, and I finally just now I'm like, okay, I can go full time if I want. But that's 7 years of like not putting a penny in my pocket for a long time. So, but
it's a lot of work.
Crazy.
You don't realize it until you're on that side of the table,
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't like to. If it's a big show, I'll never vend a big show, just because I like to go to have fun. I know it's good money, but I just go to have fun, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's the side of the table I like to be on.
Did you guys see Billy at the Tinley Not Tinley show? Schaumburg.
That's Schaumburg. So I
Yeah.
wasn't. Liz went to Schaumburg.
I was
I
there,
did not.
Yeah, damn.
Billy, what was your
I
assessment
thought-
of the show?
So just because of what I like, I spent a lot of money at Psychotic Exotics table, obviously.
Yeah.
It was a really good show. I've only been to Tinley one other time. It's really cool because we have a whole bunch of Florida shows here with Repticon and Daytona and all that. So I see a lot of the same people all the time with the same stuff. So it's awesome to get out there and see the different people in a different region of the country, different animals, people. It's cool to see retics, honestly, because we don't see those here anymore.
Oh yeah,
Worms and
I
stuff,
didn't think about
scrubs.
that.
Little things that I'm sure a lot of people take for granted, we don't see here anymore. But I thought the show was good. I thought the venue was awesome. That hotel was amazing. It was a good time. The auction was fun. Everything seemed to. It was a good show. It wasn't as big as Tinley was when I went. It wasn't as big as Daytona, but I mean, without everything is with COVID and all that, it was just nice to get out and go to a good show. But
Definitely. Yeah, I didn't get much time to walk around, unfortunately. I had kind of tunnel vision. I knew like the few people I wanted to go talk to for the weekend and kind of went through there and glanced at some other stuff. But I think it's interesting what you said about like worms and retics and the scrubs and stuff, because I knew a lot of people I'm not too far from Schaumburg. I'm 3 hours west. I'm still in Illinois. And so it's a very local show to me. And so I knew a lot of the local people that were there. And yeah, they were kind of like, man, I don't know. There wasn't like much there. It was just a bunch of worms, retics, and ball pythons, and so
that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, I thought
that's
it was
awesome.
I love seeing the retics and stuff like that. But it's interesting that we don't think about those animals not being available or readily available in other locations.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, I'm in a special circumstance with being in Florida, just because of the climate we have here with our FWC officials and, all that stuff.
Right.
I won't get into that, but I thought it was a really good show. Brandon, I'm the opposite of you with the wanting to vend big shows. If I go to a show and I sell one snake, I consider that a successful show. But I'm also not doing this full time. So I have a different outlook on it. I want to be at those bigger shows. Like I'm going to do Daytona every year, obviously, because that's my local big show. I'd love to get up to Tinley eventually, Arlington.
Blast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time, especially, when you, like, I went up there with my buddy Casey Cannon, and he even said, it was a really good show, but it's awesome when you are vending and you have a home base that you can go back to. We just kind of would do our thing, and then it's, all right, who do we bug long enough that we're at their table, and then we move on to the next one, because you don't want to just hover at somebody's table, But, it was a good time.
I'm too sporadic, man. I like to get in as soon as the doors open, and I literally will run and look at literally as fast as I can around the whole show and look at everything and take mental notes.
That's
and
what
I'd
I do.
Stop on the way back and see
first fly over, and then you come back, circle through. Yep.
See, like, who has what? What do I want to buy? Where am I spending my money today?
If you're vending, you can just do that,
I know.
Easily before anyone gets there.
I know, man, but at big shows, I just like to have fun with, like, the homies, because big shows, like, for example, the NARBCs, that's, like, the only time I'll ever see those people.
Yeah.
And so I don't –
absolutely.
I don't like to spend it behind the table a lot. There are enough shows. So I'm in Oklahoma, so the herp shows here are very all over the place.
I've heard nothing but good things about those. Though.
Yeah, I've heard
They
great
are-
things about that.
Yeah,
that show.
Sean.
I've never heard anyone say those suck.
Yeah,
Every
Herb
person
shows
I've
are
talked to
great.
loves them.
Sean runs a really good show. I love Sean to death. He's a great guy. I have watched him tell a vendor hey, you gotta go. Your animals look like shit. Your setup is not to my stipulation standard. And he was cool. He wasn't an asshole. He's
Yeah.
you just listen, man. You gotta go. You just don't. Yeah, I have a standard.
Pack
You're
up
not
your shit and
obeying.
leave.
Yeah, you're not abiding by the standard. Yeah, I would have been get the fuck out with your sick
Pick
fucking
up your
animals.
fucking skateboard.
Get the fuck out. How about make a tree and get the fuck out of here. Love me some Boondock Saints.
No,
Yeah,
man,
no,
that's how it was
those are
back
great.
back in the day, man. It wasn't,
it was
brands or
savage.
it was individuals putting on these shows that took the time to do all the stuff, and that's how it used to be.
Yeah. So yeah,
Love.
Herps are really good. It's a classy type show. Everything there is healthy. Here's another thing about Sean. He actually wants his vendors to make money. So he'll tell people so I'll tell you, he'll tell you all right, man, check it out. Why don't you try this with your setup? Because so-and-so did that and they sold more snakes because you're here from the door. So they want to see this first if they're coming this way. He'll actually help
Merchandising.
you out. Yeah. Sean is,
That's awesome.
He's good people, man. He really is. And I really enjoy the herb shows. And as far as making money for me, selling my animals, it's the herps and Morph Market, dude. That's really, and I mean, Instagram is the other thing. If I cut a clutch live on Instagram, by the time I let that video load up and post, that clutch is fucking sold. My messages are blown up. That clutch is sold, man. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, and I think
It's awesome.
we were just talking about this for Schaumburg, right? It seems like the people that go to the shows with the intention of I have to sell X amount of dollars, right?
Oh yeah.
I almost feel like those people are so desperate to sell something. The people can almost tell.
Yeah.
It's they either get screwed because they sell something for probably way cheaper than they should, or those overly aggressive salesmanship, right? You end up scaring people away from your table.
Yeah.
And so, you definitely want to go to shows with just the mindset of have a good time, get your animals out there. It's a marketing ploy, at least for us. Shows have never been our biggest money maker, right? I could sit at home and post the stuff on Morph Market and sell it. It would be easy,
Yeah.
And there's no time, there's no hotel, no food, no travel, no, it's just literally sitting at home waiting for emails to come in. And but it's getting your name out there. It's marketing. It's putting a face to the logo, face to the company. Yeah. It's a lot of it's a lot of different things. And usually, if we come home from a show pretty much breaking even on our expenses,
I'd be happy with that.
We're more than happy, right? We're this was a successful show because by the time you add up, especially Schaumburg or the big NARBC shows, I mean, by the time you add up table fees. And
food,
hotel, food, gas,
all that stuff. It adds up quick. Especially if you decide to go to the silent auction and the RBC auction and spend some money there, or open a bar tab any night of the week that you're down there. Especially in the Chicago area, it's holy shit, $6 for a drink.
Oh yeah.
Even if you're breaking even, you're lowering
overhead
costs because that's if you sell 10 snakes, you break even, you get home, that's 10 less mouths to feed.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely about the marketing and the networking. I think people don't realize the value of meeting other breeders and just other people in the community in general, and it's if you learn one tip that gets that pair locking or a male back on feed or a female to actually drop a clutch.
The stuff you guys want to put in your magazines.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth it. It's worth going in the long run. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry we missed you at Schaumburg. Like I said, I had tunnel vision most of the weekend, but
Hey, you guys just met. Just now.
Billy's like
Here
a
on
shadow.
camera.
Yeah.
He just he's like an apparition that just sort of floats.
Floats
You
around.
just see him for a second and then he fades into the mist.
You do have a creepy vibe about you, Billy. I don't know what it is, man.
Oh,
You're very,
the
you're
fuck,
very
man?
He's just very quiet.
I feel like you're a dude. Like,
Jesus.
I feel like you're the guy. Like, if I
He's a
walked into a
wallflower.
dark room, you'd have the flashlight, hold it under your, chin, and turn it on. Like, what's up, man? Nothing, bro. Why are you in this dark room with a
If you were at a
flashlight?
show, he'd be doing
Love
that,
it.
but he'd do it with some alcohol in his hand because it's Billy's mission at Daytona to get everybody hammered, and
Yeah.
he just sits there and laughs and
Everybody.
watches. I've been a victim of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's like,
That's
"Oh, I'm going up
funny.
to the room to make a a ginger ale and bourbon or whatever," and he's like, "You want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He comes back down. It's like all bourbon and like maybe a splash of ginger ale.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to
And
do
it's
it.
like, what am I
man.
going to do? Throw it away? Like I got to drink it, And it's just,
Yeah. It
it's
was
so
like
sneaky. He overpours on purpose.
it was a splash. Yeah, it was a
no
splash.
mistake.
What you need
I
to
got
do
him
is
fucked
you have
It's like 2 drops.
you need to set aside a little piece in the magazine called Billy's Cocktail Column, where he just talks about how he mixes
Yeah.
different drinks with, like,
Mixologist
Good.
section. Yeah.
here's 6 shots of bourbon.
Here's how
One
I
shot
obliterate
of
everyone
fucking-
at Daytona.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Take a
Not
thimble and
shaken,
fill
not
it with
stirred.
ginger ale. Pour it in the glass. Yeah. Daytona's fun
Oh,
though.
shit.
Daytona's a blast, and that's the reason I go to that now. Is just it's more hanging out with everybody rather than the show. Like the show's kind of just a bonus.
Yeah.
I get hammered. That's
Hang out with
why
Billy
we
and
go.
Phil and all the people. Yeah, yeah.
So I know.
Yeah, it's a big
I know
party.
the what is it? That's
I've
the
heard it's a lot of
CR.
fun.
That's the CRBE.
And
Or what is it? The NRB? Yeah, okay, yeah, NRBE. And it used to be. So I've never been to Daytona, but I've been to Orlando. Back when it was the Orlando show.
Okay.
But I've never actually made it to the Daytona show. I really want to get over there for Iguana Fest, Carpet Fest. I would love to go to Daytona. When is the next Daytona?
August. Right?
August 21st through the 23rd. Is that right?
That might be.
Yeah, and then
possible.
I put it on the calendar at work today to make sure.
doing that thing on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
The
be
20th.
worth
Yeah,
going
they're
to
doing-
if you make the trip.
20th through the 22nd. That'd be
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
21st. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That weekend.
Friday,
I'll have
Saturday.
to see,
Yeah, we've been
'cause-
talking about. We won't be bringing snakes, but I think I might be coming down just to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
won't be
awesome
bringing.
because the hotel's right across from the center where the show's at, and so like everything, you don't have to go anywhere all weekend. Like you can park your
That's
car,
what I
and then everything
heard,
else
yeah.
is right there.
And go across the street.
And
That's
there's a
super
cigar
nice,
shop
yeah.
a mile up the street.
That's all Justin cares about. There's the cigar shop.
I make a
about.
concerted
Right
effort
up
to
the
go
road.
there. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
I'll
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
like
that's-
a case of cigars with me, but I still end up going there and buying some.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it, bro. Yeah, I'll definitely, if I can make it, I'll make it. I'm trying to, August is the month I'm trying to move to North Carolina from Oklahoma. So depending on, again, like we were just talking about the housing market, how expensive shit is to build right now, that'll dictate whether I end up going to Daytona or not.
Yeah.
But
All right, guys, we got one more question for you here before the Revolution round. We're pushing that 2-hour mark. We try to keep it around there so we don't keep
Yeah.
anyone too late. So what is like your online to hard copy customer difference look like? Like, do you guys sell a lot of hard copies? I know you have them available.
Not
Or
a ton.
is
It
Mainly online.
it varies. So I mean, when we did like a all chondro issue last June, a year ago, and we sold a ton of that. That issue
Oh, I
sold
bet.
like crazy. And then I mean, we've had some where we've only sold 1 or 2 copies. I mean, it's just one of those things where
It depends.
we can clearly tell. Like we have one issue with that was about herping in Italy, and it has a salamander on the cover. And that has the lowest readership of all the other issues. It's like you put a salamander or a amphibian on the
Yeah,
cover,
an
and people are like,
amphibian.
nah. It's an awesome shot of one of these
Wow,
salamanders in a
yes.
cave,
Yeah, it was.
and it's about Italy and like herping in Italy from our guy in Austria, and
This goes to show people don't read, dude. They
people see a salamander, they're like, ugh.
yeah, wow. Now I'm gonna go read that. That's gonna be like the first one I look at. It sounds really
like
interesting.
the article's about looking for the Walser's viper in Italy, but that salamander shot was so cool that I was like, we need to change it up. I feel like we have a snake on the cover of every issue.
Yeah.
And once again, like I was talking about earlier, like it just so happens that we just have a lot of snake content because we're naturally snake guys, and whether consciously or subconsciously, we just gravitate towards that. So I tried to change it up. We did another issue recently where we put Mike Clarkson on the cover from HCI, and we were like, let's try that out and see if we put a familiar face on the cover, if people are going to be cool. Like we're playing with it all the time. Like we're testing things and seeing sort of what sticks and what doesn't. And we put Mike on the cover, and that one did all right. Initial reactions, initial numbers. But even now, like the last couple weeks, I really don't even pay attention to the numbers that much anymore. It's just one of those things where it's like it really doesn't matter. Like the magazine's going to get put out regardless. I could sit there and obsess over the numbers and stuff like that, but it's like it doesn't. Just keep doing it. That's my policy with pretty much everything, be it the magazine or the podcast and stuff like that. Is like just put it out, and eventually, if you're consistent with it and it's good stuff, it'll take off on its own.
Yep. And that way with my social media, like people are always like, "Oh, when do you post? And what are your insights? And how do you?" And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I post pictures that I think are good, decent pictures at least. I mean, I'm a professional photographer. It's like some posts do really well, and some posts that I think like, oh, this is going to be a really good one, completely bomb. And
you'll have some that for some reason do extremely well. It could be like the most random picture of like your cat, and it goes crazy with the same hashtags, and then you'll post a picture of like the rare snake in your collection, or the most outrageous morph in your collection, and people are like, yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and
whatever.
I'll have something like completely bomb on Instagram, and my stuff automatically goes to like my Facebook page. So like bomb on Instagram, but like blow up on Facebook. Like I'll get like 80 shares on Facebook, and I'm like,
that's wild.
I put a quote under a picture, and people like blew up about it, and then I'll have the opposite. So it's really strange, but it just goes to show it's just who it's reaching, what your audience is, and how the algorithms when you talk about social media happen to push your stuff. And
I'm a big Gary V guy, and he's always just like, it doesn't matter. Like, don't think about it too much. Just post stuff. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep. If it's consistent and it's good, over time you'll get to where you sort of want to be, or where you should be rather.
Plus, I feel like organic growth is so much better. Oh, you can buy and push and do all you want, but at the end of the day, if those people aren't reading or aren't engaging or aren't purchasing, whatever your market towards you're pushing for, you could have 100,000 followers, but if only 1,000 of them look at your page,
what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? You could have 5,000 followers, but 4,500 of them, actively engage on your stuff. Either whether it be weekly or daily, makes a big difference over time.
Yeah. It's because those people are the people that want to see your content. Those are the guys that want to read your magazine, right? They're the people that are going to support you because they believe in what you're doing, right? I'm about to tell people all the time. I'm gonna be like, yo, you need to read this magazine.
Yeah, and there was a point where we had talked to our buddy Dr. Travis Wyman about doing like a regular piece on like explaining a ball python morph, like a ball python morph for the month, because we really don't have a lot of ball python content in the magazine. That's not on purpose. That's just because we're not really ball python guys, and once again, just like the snake thing, it's just a subconscious thing. So. Yeah. I'm super not hip to ball python morphs. I know what a Mojave is. I know what a pastel is.
The basic shit.
Mojaves are probably my favets.
That's Liz's. That's Liz's thing.
I couldn't tell you anything about anything else.
Bad.
Yeah.
I run into issues with it all the time.
I was gonna have Travis do like a thing that basically broke down when you start getting into the multi-gene morphs and stuff, breaking down sort of what constitutes this morph, and like just for guys like me that are like, I appreciate how they look, I appreciate the colors and stuff. I couldn't tell you the first thing about a GHI anything. I had a yellow belly, and like I don't know nothing about those things.
That's interesting. I used to do when I was really active on Facebook. I used to do a Morph Monday post, and I would literally do that. I would take pictures and I'd put like outlines on like what I was talking about, you know, it does this to the pattern or affects the colors, and I put combos next to each other or put like a normal next to a Mojave is one that I did and kind of show the difference. So it's interesting that there's someone else, I guess, interested in that. I did it for a while. It didn't seem to go over very well. But
yeah, well, I mean, to people in the ball python world, they're like, whatever, you know, they already know these things, I'm sure. But to guys like myself and Billy that are completely clueless, you know, it's like, yeah, we're very involved in the hobby and we're very into what we have. But when it comes to balls, I see them at tables and I'm like, that one's really cool. That one's really cool. I have no idea what it is.
But it looks good.
Well, yeah. And, you know, we get that question all the time. I'm sure you do in other species as well. But it's like, people see banana for like $250, right? And then they'll see like, I don't know, a different combo, but it doesn't look as bright and pretty to them because it's black and gold instead of gold and purple, you know? And they're like, why is that one $250 and this one's $2,000 when this snake looks better than this one, right? And so it would be interesting to be like, well, you know, you just genetic power and market, but when you can't see the difference or don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah. People, that's how it is with chondros.
Yeah.
All the time.
Exactly.
People are like, what kind of chondro is this? It's like, I mean, we couldn't really tell you for sure, but we can say that it has the traits of this subspecies or locality. You know?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Billy's been tempted to get into some stripe ball stuff. I don't think he's actually done it yet, but he's been talking about it. You know, he's a big stripe. Anything with a stripe, Billy's all about it.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I've played with the genetic stripe idea, the tri-stripe idea.
Tri-stripe.
Like Liz again. Liz again.
Yeah, like the whole genetic aspect of it. Like I used to have ball pythons before I got heavy into carpets. Like I've always had carpets, but I had a group of ball pythons that I was, you know, messing with and, you know, wanted to play around with different genes and all that. Didn't work out. Decided, hey, I'm just going to go all in on carpets. But the more time goes on, the more I see all this different stuff, you know, like it is cool. Like with all the possibilities and could you get this? Could you get that? You know, if you put this gene with that gene, what will it do? What if you put a super on this, you know, it's
like Christmas. I love it, dude. It's like ball pythons.
Gambling. It's constantly gambling.
That's what Casey says. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's like, all right, I got 1 in 128 chance to hit this combo that I want, and I've got 8 eggs. You know?
Well,
yeah, dude, it's
how are you gonna hit it?
Kabelka had a pair of quad hets on his table.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even wrap my head around how that would even work.
Yeah. So what is that 128 or is that 256? I forget
256.
Which one that is. It's 256 to hit all 4 of them, right?
To hit all 4. But
hit a quad visual, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the visual for everything, yeah.
But
I was gonna say the way that Justin breaks it down is really interesting, right? It's like if you don't specify which visual or which 2 visuals you want to hit, you just want to hit a double visual. But say, I think those were clown, DG, Pi, genetic stripe, if I remember correctly.
So, something like that sounds right.
Like that. He's like, if you don't specify which 2, right, you just want to hit a double visual, doesn't matter, then it's 1 in 16 chance of hitting a double visual animal with a quad het to a quad het, as long as you're not saying specifically like I want DG clowns or DG pies. So hitting a visual is 1 in 8, right? Hitting a single visual of any of those 2. So yeah, that's kind of and that's what we talk about in the ball pythons, the power of having multi-het recessive animals.
Oh yeah.
Is as long as you don't specify which specific recessives you want, your odds go up astronomically, even though hitting the ultimate animal, right, is like 1 in 256.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. It just depends on how you look at it. But all that stuff is so interesting. You know, just look at our rooms behind us. Like, the best way it was described to me was by Eric Kohler. He's another carpet guy. He said, first and foremost, I'm a collector, and then I'm an animal guy. And that really made sense to me because, I mean, obviously, look at us. You know, we like to collect stuff and we happen to like animals too. And I just know myself, if I got into the ball pythons, I would go all in. And just because there's so many cool things, you know, like there's so many different possibilities. And
like everything behind me except for 5 tubs, I think, maybe six is ball pythons. Like there's an olive in here, there's a Colombian, rainbow boa, and then I've got a couple other like BIs, miscellaneous, and I have a pair of spotted pythons. And that is everything else is ball pythons, and then the rest of my boas and my white-lipped and my burbs and stuff are out in a different location, and they're big like boa files and stuff. But it quickly went from 1 to 7 to 8 to 76. I bought out a collection, and it was in less than a year. We went from 1 to almost 80 ball pythons. It was just.
And the ball market's crazy, bro.
When the addiction hits, it's hard.
I mean, that's my question for you guys is like, if someone comes into balls and they want to breed for the first time, like, where the hell do you start?
With what you like?
What you like, yeah. That's like with whatever it is that you like.
How is there even? I mean, I guess the market exists for that kind of basic stuff, but it's like everything's so far ahead of where it was, you know, not that long ago that it's like.
So
how do you sell stuff when it's so readily available everywhere else? I'm sure it was like I can't. That's what blows my mind with the
right. So it kind of brings us back to 2 sides of it, right? So a lot of your what we would consider lower end stuff is mostly pets or people coming into the industry wanting to breed, right? And me and Brandon have talked about this a lot. The thought is the longer you're in the industry, you should be upgrading your animals every year, right? Yep. So the people who have been in this the longest technically should be producing like those high-end crazy animals that you can't get a hold of, making room for the new people coming into the industry wanting
filling
to make
that gap.
Filling the gap, right? And it comes down to exactly what we talked about, odds of 1 out of 256. I could be going for that one animal and have 10 clutches trying to hit that 1 out of 256, have 100 eggs and 10 clutches and still not hit that animal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So well, it's like if I got a pastel and I got a Mojave, I don't even know what that produces, but it's like how many people are actually gonna have any interest in that? How many people are like, am I gonna have a hard time selling that? Like, am I gonna be stuck with a clutch full of babies?
I think you would sell them to younger people who are looking for either pets or people who are looking at pet stores, or like there's a lot of people who come in and when they want to start breeding, they want to start off with single genes or 2 gene stuff because they don't want to breed snakes and have their clutch of eggs like I don't know what genes are in this. I can't ID it.
It goes back to IDing too, right? People don't want to have a 5-gene female and a 5-gene male and throw it together, and then you got a bunch of eggs and your eye isn't trained. You don't know what it is, right? And we still have that issue. I mean, Brandon and I have both been breeding for 7 years, and sometimes stuff crawls out of the egg, and we're like,
we gotta send pictures to each other, like,
what the hell is this? Like,
what do you think?
I have no idea what's in this animal.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy.
It's the people that don't want to have that situation happen, and I mean, we can't keep pet stores away.
Really?
I mean, I have pet mom and pop shops banging down my door constantly for ball pythons. I mean, they want to buy stuff like right out of the egg, which I don't sell because I know they're going to turn around and not feed it and sell it to someone. But
get it out the door as quick as
people
possible.
that just want stuff and they want it now. And I mean, I've had pet stores pay upwards of $500 to $700 for an animal, you know, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about the ball python market. But in my mind, the fact that the market is so hot for ball pythons, I know for a fact that pet stores marking that up at least double what they paid for it. Yeah, right? That's about the consensus. You sell it at 50% to the pet store what they're going to sell it for.
Yeah,
at least. So if they're willing to pay $500 to $700, that means they're selling them for $1,000 to $1,500 in store. Like someone is walking into a pet store going,
and they're paying that,
and paying $1,500.
Yeah.
You know,
that's mind blowing in itself, because you would think with so many people breeding them and them being produced in such huge numbers that you would run out of people who want to buy them. But
bro, listen to
crazy.
I think the diversity adds to it too, because just like we were talking about, you know, you can get a pied, or you can get a yellow snake, or you can get an all black snake, or an all white snake, or a striped snake, or an animal
these
kind
days.
of pattern, animal with no pattern. I mean, it just goes on and on. So the fact that
there's the patternless now.
Patternless. You know, the fact that we're not, you know, ball pythons are so versatile. There's literally something for everyone in the ball pythons, whether you like bright colors, or you like contrast, or you like busy pattern or no pattern. There is a project for everyone, and you know, and a lot of your animals kind of maintain a lot of the same look, right? Like we can change the pattern a little bit, we can change the color, but there's just not quite another reptile species that is truly as diverse as python.
Like as far as like polymorphism and like phenotypic differences, ball pythons are in a league of their own. Like there's nothing.
I mean, the only thing that comes close is
like
corns.
Yes.
Corns.
Two different colubrids.
Colubrids, in general.
Yeah, for the most part.
But morph power, like, so I know Will Morrow's, he did it like on a calculator, and he just put in like, he went and counted how many morphs there are, and he was like, if he were to make, I think it's up to 3 genes of every different kind of combo, you know, it was over 1 trillion. The number was like over 1 trillion snakes he would have to make. So like the actual,
really,
Jeez.
So that's what I'm telling you, Justin. Where you're saying it blows your mind that so many people are breeding these things, but they're selling so fast. All right, I'm not going to say who, but it's a larger scale breeder, and I went and toured his facility about 2 years ago, and he had 996 clutches. And it was all ball pythons and all low to middle end pet stuff. And he still could not produce enough to supply his demand. Like almost 1,000 clutches, dude. It's so wild. Like,
yeah, so that would be like, we take a low average, usually have like 7 eggs per clutch. Usually between 6 and 7. Yeah. So, you know, you're producing about 6,900 to 7,000 ball pythons in a season.
That's crazy, because you could be full time off 2,000 to 2,500.
Yeah.
So like that's
a
like
whole nother logistical thing that I can't wrap my head around, is the guys that do it full time, like planning that out to where you have consistent income throughout the year to be able to maintain.
It's very
ultrasound.
Having an ultrasound, knowing when your girls are going to go is a big thing.
Cheating.
Yeah, but it's very much like,
what are you doing? Come here.
You're going to have your high months, right?
Right. There's going to be there's going to be variation
in sales,
sure.
right? But then you're going to have your 3 or 4 months out of the year where you're selling like 2, right? So it's very much all right, I sold 20,000 this year, this month, but I'm gonna budget off the fact that I sold 5, and I'm just gonna forget that this other 15 even exists. And it's not easy; it's very difficult, because you know, we all get it, that money burning a hole in an account somewhere or in a pocket, and we're like, man, I really want to get into this, or I really need this animal, you know, and it's just. It's very much, we went as far as to just make like a whole separate account with a different bank, which we did that because it had high interest, right? So it's a little bit different. But it's not like every time I'm logging into my account, looking at my stuff, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, you know, I can spare a few thousand here and a few thousand there. It just adds up quick. Impulse control, I'm not good at it. I see a snake on Morph Market or, you know, at a show, and I'm like, hell yeah, I can swing that. And, you know,
that's the fucked up thing about people in our hobby are so fucked, dude. We'll go to Walmart. Like if I go to Walmart and I spend like $150, it makes me want to vomit. But if I see a snake, if I see a snake and I'm like,
you're right.
oh, $5,500, I could swing that shit.
Yeah,
that's cheap. Yeah,
like that ain't nothing. fucking
Yeah.
chump change,
You know,
dude.
You'll see one at a show for $5. You saw one last, spring for $6. You're like, this is a steal, But yeah, it's a lot of budgeting when you start doing stuff like that full time. I feel like a lot of
the ball
learning how your season goes, right? Because we all get an influx of eggs and then a downfall at some point.
And then,
Meanwhile, I have a waiting list of 3 people who want my locality corn snakes.
Yes,
I think that's badass, bro. You gotta is it on Palmetto Coast Exotics? You have an Instagram?
Yep.
For that, I really want to check that out because I bet I know a few.
That's just like I don't know. I love the projects that are more difficult and require more attention to detail and things. But then I also love having the projects where I don't have to think about any of that. Put the snakes together, get the eggs, put them in an incubator, and just wait. Like chondro eggs, they're a little more finicky, a little more difficult. Those do require a little more finesse. But then you have like the corns and the Baird's rats and stuff, and the cyanea where it's like, these are a breeze. I don't have to worry, and there's like stress free. There's like I like the high stress stuff, but I love the low stress stuff just as much.
Oh, yeah, I'll never claim that this is difficult. I mean, the hardest part is probably learning all the genetics, right? It's just is figuring all that stuff out. But I mean, as far as the actual breeding process on ball pythons, I mean, you throw them together, they lay eggs. Yeah. You put them in an incubator, forget about them for 60 days. You go check them, come out. It's pretty simple. And even like the feeding response on a lot of ball pythons. Like I know a lot of people say ball pythons can be kind of finicky, but I mean, I don't get issues with like whole clutches not wanting to eat stuff. You get the occasional few every season that don't start off quite as great as the others, but I've heard stuff with like hog noses and like your Solomon Island ground boas and shit where they just don't eat. Like they just want nothing.
Boegas. Fucking boegas.
Getting babies started on the boega is the hardest part.
Yeah.
That's same with chondros. Like getting the eggs and stuff isn't all that difficult. It's getting them established in
those
neos. That's where the work.
Those neos are motherfuckers.
It's hard.
Billy's out here with like carpets. Like, they're so hard.
Yeah, we gotta have you guys on because we're way past our time limit. So we're gonna go into the revolution round, but I feel like we gotta have you guys on for a second time. I feel like
or we can get us all on Snakes and Stogies one Monday night if y'all are free.
Yes,
which is our live show that me and Phil do, and Billy also joins us on that sometimes. So
third wheel.
Yeah. No, I'd love to get, both of you guys on either together again or separately just to talk about your businesses, right? Like, and that
that's
kind
probably,
of stuff.
that's probably what we'll do. We'll probably get you on each an episode. Look at us planning it now where everyone can fucking hear us about our secrets.
There's witnesses.
It's set in stone now, right?
We're committed, man. I'm that guy. If someone's like, I don't think that's a good idea. Nope, I'm committed. And then
I got it.
That's it, bro. I get hurt.
This is true. Brandon, how we're doing it. I'm like, Brandon, we're not doing it, though.
Yeah, I'm jumping off the hotel roof into the pool. That doesn't sound like I'm already
He's already gone,
There you go.
That's literally very controversial. Like, I'm going to ask this, not controversial, but like this very, like, drama-filled question. It's like, let's not, Brandon. Let's not open that can of worms. Let's just it's not, we're good with controversy, but man, social media.
It's fine in small amounts. If you're not making the entire show about it, it's fine. But I do like to ask the thought-provoking questions.
Yes, exactly. Most people are like, poke a small hole at the pool drain slowly, right? Brandon just like take the whole wall down. Like we're just gonna crash it.
Takes out as much city and just slashes it.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, I'm about that life. Like I don't.
All right. Guys, we'll get on to this revolution round. So this is just like a fun round where we ask you guys some quick questions.
It's fast.
Yeah, whoever wants to answer first can. You can go back and forth on who answers first, whatever.
We'll let Billy can lead on each one. We'll make it easy. Let Billy lead on, and then there's no like confusion, and we're not staring at each other.
Billy, you see how he fucked you and made you go first?
Yeah, well, I see he's nervous. That's what I see.
Yeah,
he's
my human shield.
He's deflecting. Yeah.
That's right.
He's deflecting. No, fuck yeah. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready? 1 rep max for bench press.
Ooh, 265.
All right, Justin. what about
Is that
you?
a
Not too
gym
bad.
thing?
I love
Yeah,
it.
it's
Let's
a
say
gym.
my
135,
response
Smitty.
too. Yeah,
It's
it's like
a
the
gym.
bench, like how much
You know,
can
bench press.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't
All right.
seen the inside of a gym in a very long time.
Okay.
Let's say 135 for Smitty.
Yeah, let's say
He can do a
300.
plate. He can do a
Well,
plate.
I assume the higher you go, the better. Let's go with
Yeah, right.
300, 320.
Oh shit, we can't have Smitty on if he can do 320. Actually,
This guy.
I think we can. I think I can. I
If I
think
flex, I
can.
might rip my shirt.
No joke. I just
I'll
went
make
home
you
to
another one.
Pennsylvania because he makes shirts to visit my family. My brother's like a skinny guy, and I'm really not. And I put on his Carhartt jacket. And he's like, "You can't rip it," and I just flexed, and it just right up the
Damn,
back.
it's $150 you're not getting back.
I totally,
Yeah.
I totally
I'd
bought
be
him another
pissed.
one. No,
Carhartt
I
jackets,
bought
like-
him
Yeah, these are
another
awesome
one.
jackets. I'd be
I
upset.
know.
All right,
Alright.
guys. You saying the word? Do you say caramel or caramel?
Like the candy. Is it caramel
Caramel.
or caramel?
Caramel.
Yes,
Caramel.
Caramel?
Yeah.
caramel. Yes.
Fucking caramel,
Thank
man.
you.
I use them
Liz
sort of
gets it.
interchangeably. Like when I talk about like carpets, it's caramel, but most of the time it's caramel.
Caramel albino?
See, that's the funny thing because we usually ask
Caramel,
with
yeah.
ball pythons, right?
Yeah,
There's
caramel
a
albino.
caramel albino line, right? So
Yeah.
I think I got 2 on that one because I mean we're talking the caramel carpets.
I don't
Yes,
know, man.
caramel. Yeah.
But Justin Tony
Thank
said
you.
caramel first.
I got both.
Yeah, I mean
I got
caramel's
both.
like my default setting.
Yeah, caramel is definitely the way to go.
Justin, stop it! I need some
It's
wins on
debatable.
this.
Tomato.
It's caramel.
God damn, it's caramel. All right. So, one book that impacts who you are as a person today.
Oh, man.
Men are from Venus,
Smitty,
women
take
are
first
from
on this one.
Mars.
I told you, he fucked you and made you go first, man.
I know, right?
Does,
Jeez,
like
I
her
don't read
book or
anything.
just
Hurt books. Yeah.
any book?
In general,
Any book that you've read in your entire lifetime that really you think had such a profound effect that it affected who you are today. Any piece of literature you've
Ooh,
read.
that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right?
So there's a book I talk about a lot on like some of the on the podcasts that we do. It's called Spillover by David Quammen, and it's about zoonotic diseases, like case studies of diseases like SARS and Ebola and stuff spilling over to human populations. That was really interesting. That's a book that's stuck with me ever since I read it. It's
That's some good
really
shit.
really good, and I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth checking out.
Fuck
And
yeah.
Billy never learned how to read, so you can just go to the next question.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why he doesn't do shit for the magazine. 'Cause he can't even read it. He just
I
finds
never learned how
he just
to
finds
read.
all the content.
I got
He's
pictures.
committing seppuku. I fucking love it. I fucking
Killing
love
me,
he's
man.
committing seppuku, man.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
god. Oh wait,
Found
no,
picture upstairs.
Billy. Do you have an answer for the book?
I don't remember the
Prisoner of
the
Azkaban.
name of it. I don't remember the name of it, but there was this. I work in EMS,
Captain
so there
Underpants
was this. Like, shut up, Smitty. There was this memoirs book that I read. This guy that worked in
Animorphs.
Hell's Kitchen, and in like the 80s and stuff. And it was when I was a new medic and I was experiencing new things and all that. I guess just kind of seeing that it's been the same job forever. So it kind of helped me kind of cope with certain things I was seeing and all that. So that's the
That's
first
good
one that comes
shit.
to mind. But I forget what the name of it was because it's been a long time since I've watched it or read it, whatever. I watched it and read it.
Yeah.
I watched it.
I also prefer to watch the
Hell's
movie.
Kitchen, like Dave Ramsey, or not Dave Ramsey?
No,
Gordon
it's
Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
it was a inner city
Dave
spot
Ramsey's not-
in Connecticut during the AIDS pandemic. it was bad.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's
All
kind
right.
of depressing, but all
What-
right.
What?
You asked. You asked, yeah.
His is depressing, but he's like, it's all about these horrible diseases that killed off the human population.
Yeah,
That's why
it's SARS, Ebola.
Oh, sorry, guys. Animorphs. Goosebumps.
Yeah,
we'll go with that,
Animorphs.
Oh my God, Animorphs! Shut the fuck
Dude,
up right now.
I had every single one of those books, man. And the show, the Nickelodeon show.
I can't believe you just brought that up, dude.
At the ripe old age of 30, I'm dating myself.
Yeah, we're
so
all there.
I do like R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. That shit.
Remember the ones where you would like flip to a certain
Yeah, I used to
page
mess
and it
with
determine the ending?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that was the good shit, dude.
And then you'd like reread them just to see the other endings.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, the good shit. All right, Liz, you're next. Sorry.
So you're good. All right, what would you, as a cover photo, look like?
Ooh.
Cover
Likely
photo.
with a bag over my head.
What would your cover photo look like, Brian?
Billy? I think you mean Billy.
Or Billy? Fuck, I suck dick.
You did that earlier and I just let it
I've
ride.
said it so many
Did
times.
I?
Like, Billy, yeah, you've done it like 3 times tonight.
Billy, why did you fucking say something, you dick?
Anyways,
Bro,
we're
I
here
was
with
just letting
Brayden
it ride.
Hernandez.
Yeah, fucking.
We're on your
Look
show,
at
man. I'm
fucking-
whoever you want me to be.
I want you to be yourself, man.
I get called
No, you
Jason
only
so
be
many times
Brian,
at work,
man.
I just accept it at this point. I'm like, that's my name. That's my second name.
I
Jason.
did-
People
Yeah,
call me
this is
Jason. I'm
what
like,
it
yep,
is.
that's me.
Rebecca,
People don't
I have
believe
no
that.
idea how that is close to Liz at all, but mine is always Rebecca. I'm like, all right, yeah, cool. Just started
Yeah,
answering to
that's
it
close.
now.
I just get
Yeah,
asked
it's
why my
totally
last name's
close.
Hernandez. People be like, "You're not a Hernandez." I'm like, clearly it's on my birth certificate. Like, I'm a Hernandez. But yeah, no, dude, you should have said something. I feel so fucking bad. Liz,
It's
we
all good,
tried
man.
so hard. Like,
No.
I said Billy. I'm sure he's
Billy
annoyed.
lets it slide
I'm like,
once, and then
Billy,
after
like
that-
every time, I'm like, don't pick
Everybody
up
gets
on
one.
it.
Yeah.
why did
Yeah,
any
we'll
of
pick
you
up on it
guys say
eventually.
something, dude?
In your defense, I let Jake, who was my co-host on THP, call
Oh, yeah.
Popwin Python, Popwin Carpets, Papayans for like 2 months.
Oh my god!
I knew exactly that what he was doing was what he was doing, but he was completely
Dude.
oblivious, and I wasn't sure if it was like he was
So,
doing it on purpose. So I
you-
didn't say anything.
You let a man mix up a locality and a fruit.
Yeah.
They're papayans.
Oh,
Now it's a
my
running
fucking
joke.
I
God.
can see it.
Yep.
Oh,
They Photoshop
that's
babies coming
fucking
out.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. That's a fucking
That
good
was
one.
like
Oh, yeah.
that's almost all he keeps, and so I was like, I couldn't really figure out what exactly was going on. Like I was like, is he doing this on purpose? Is there something I don't know? Like, so I didn't say anything.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
he's got to
butcher.
know more than you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I butcher those all the time. Like I try not to. I'm just like I'm totally gonna screw this up, and it's like I can hear it in my head, and then it comes out completely. I'm like I'm done.
Well,
there's-
3 years later,
Okay.
people don't let me live it down. So
Yeah,
There's just some shit people like.
Yeah.
I can't say like I had this commander when I was in the army. He couldn't make a th sound like instead of saying months, he would say months. Like he would
is he
replace
from,
th with
like up
S.
north.
Northeast, yeah. I think.
Yeah, that's a common thing apparently.
I'm
with
from
that.
the Northeast. I'm from
you're from
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh. It doesn't
Pennsylvania.
count.
No, but that's like up.
They have their
that's
own
a,
language.
that's a
it's
that's a
true.
thing. There's actually some videos Wired did that talks about different dialects in North America,
Yeah.
and that was one of the things they were talking about. Was like up northeast is like those ths
Oh,
get
shit.
pronounced as f's.
Oh, I didn't
Pretty
Right.
realize
interesting.
I'm from
that.
the
Yeah.
land of Oak, so
Speak-
I can't really say much.
Speaking of F's, we're fucking off real bad. So
Yes.
What
cover
is-
photo. If you were a cover photo, what would you look like? Somehow we got off on. Oh, because you said Brian.
I mean, if I took my shirt off, I'd look
Really?
just like The Rock.
Billy.
I assume something resembling the Florida man with some type of mullet, short cutoff jeans, riding a
Very
gator or
Joe
something.
Dirt.
Yeah,
Very Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Joe Dierte.
Oh, yeah.
Dear
I can pull it off.
All right, I fucks with that. Hell yeah. All right, what would you guys look like as a centerfold?
Ooh.
Probably the same.
Florida man.
Cut the shorts off a little short.
Yeah.
People
Cut the
would
jeans
probably
off.
think it was some sort of bizarre Sasquatch themed thing.
I like it.
Dude, I'm 6'4" and like 275. Like I'm not a small man. It would be disturbing.
Fuck, dude.
Oh man,
My
That's
cross to
funny
bear.
as shit. That's funny as shit, dude. I see myself naked with 2 ball pythons holding them in front of my junk, like, you want to touch my balls? That cliche fucking playoff ball pythons.
course.
And, yeah. Last question. Liz, you got it?
Yeah, last one. All right, guys. How are you revolutionary? You being Herpetoculture Magazine.
Without seeming full of yourself, Jesus.
Be full of yourself.
Be
This is
full of
your
yourself.
moment. This is like literally the question that provides you the ability to.
You know who's not full of themselves? Brian's. That's who. You need to be.
I see what you did
You
there.
need to be Billy's. That's what you need.
I see what you did there.
To answer Braden's question, mine, I would say if I had, mine would just be putting out as much quality content as possible.
Yeah.
For
If
sure.
I can go to my grave and people say he helped put out good information that helped me, then my job is done, in my opinion.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about this backstage, but just, guys, it's a free magazine. The labor of love that must go into this thing. You guys aren't in it because you're selling 500 copies and making $10, a copy every month, or, whatever the case may be. It's strictly just to provide people with the information. And
we sell 4 copies at $4.63 a copy.
There you go.
Yes. You know what I'm gonna start doing?
I mean, you guys are just raking it in. Why even breed?
Yeah, I mean,
animals,
It's my job tomorrow. I just do it for fun.
Yeah, right. Something to do.
I mean, just putting out content for, and kind of like you said, is for everyone, whether it's a hobbyist or breeders or people looking to come into the industry. And I know we touched on a little bit even in the beginning there, Billy, is just that leaving the industry better than how you found it. I think if everyone strived to do that, think how much farther along this industry would be and how many less battles we would have to fight.
Oh yeah.
There wouldn't be those people putting everything in a bad light, right? If everyone was striving to do better and be better, you would quickly weed out a lot of the issues.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think social media has kind of taken the focus off of people's collections and more onto the popularity contest of things. And I mean, we're all here for the same reason. At the end of the day, it's like we're all keeping snakes in boxes. Like, don't take it too seriously.
We're
not curing cancer. We're
Speak for yourself, man. I'm gonna slowly inject myself with snake venom, and I'm gonna gain superpowers and fucking be the next Lance Armstrong.
Billy could cure cancer with his centerfold.
Oh shit!
That's it.
Damn. That's what. So if he was Brian, would he cure COVID-19 with his centerfold?
No.
Brian's nothing.
Yeah.
Brian's trash.
Yeah, screw Brian, man.
We don't fuck with Brian's.
See, this is why you should have put your name instead of your Instagram handle, like I did.
It was
as a human being.
there. I didn't even touch anything.
It was already there.
So I know both of your names. I just smoked too many green grass filled cigars before the show.
There we go. Look,
Thank you.
I'm just being honest. What's up, Bubba? Come here. I'm just being honest. We had a rough day today. We had a scary day today. So
fair enough.
We had to partake in some of that. But there was 2 more things I wanted to ask you guys. The first being, if someone wants to submit anything to be published in your magazine, where and how would they do that?
Smitty?
They don't know.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's multiple places.
Trying to let Billy.
You know, you can send it to any of us. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you can message us on Instagram, message us on Facebook, Herpetoculture Magazine. You can email us at herpetoculturemagazine@gmail.com. You can send an email to us on the website. I'm pretty sure that's working right now. I need to probably verify that, but
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard. You can message me on the Palmetto Coast Exotics Facebook page or Instagram. You know, whatever. We're very easy people to get a hold of.
All right, and the second thing is go ahead and plug your personal companies where people can get animals from you.
Brian?
I'm Uwabami Reptiles. Y'all go first, Smitty, on this. Uwabami Reptiles, Facebook and Instagram. Hit me up whenever. Any questions? If you just want to just chat snakes, I love this hobby. I love being a part of it. So even if I'm not selling stuff, I enjoy just talking to people that are also into it. So open invitation.
Oh yeah. And
I
Justin,
gotta ask Brian.
we gotta ask Brian.
I gotta ask Brian. Where did the name come from?
It's Japanese for Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. Plot twist. Plot twist there.
That was good. That was good shit.
No, it just means snake in Japanese, and my sister actually came up with it. So I was trying to figure out a name for what I was doing, and we're trying to think of something different that would stand out. So I don't know if you guys have seen my logo or anything, but I have like the Kenji character and little bamboo, things around the text and all that. It's actually worked really good to where if someone just sees the Kenji or they see, just my whole logo, they associate it with, what I do with the carpets and all that. So it's been cool to be different. I
like it.
I actually had two Japanese guys come up to me at a show. One of them didn't speak English and the other one was translating for them. And, they were kind of serious, like, hey, do you do business in Japan, with your name? I was like, oh, this is my chance. Is this right? Does this mean what I think it means? And I got the green light. They're like, yeah, everything's correct. You did good. So
yeah, it wasn't like Kenji legit, for like French fry or something.
That's
yeah,
funny
it was like water instead of snake or something. But,
yeah, right. You get the fucking symbol tattooed on you, means something totally different.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin? Yeah. What about your personal company, Justin?
It's Palmetto Coast Exotics on Facebook and Instagram as well. Don't have a ton available at the moment. Got some bear rats hatching out soon. Don't know what I'm going to part with as far as those go, but yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of bare bones around here, but that may change in the near future. Look, Brian, you scared? Liz away.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
With your Japanese cultural appropriation.
That's funny as shit.
Yeah, right?
I'm sure she'll hop back in. And there's one other thing. Why can't I remember it? Probably because all those fucking green leaf cigars I smoked earlier. Son of a bitch. Fuck, dude, I'm never gonna remember, and it's really gonna piss me off. Oh, this is killing me because we're about to.
I keep a notepad anytime I'm doing like podcast stuff.
Yeah, me too. But this was something. This was something I wanted to know personally, and I wish I could remember what it was. Oh, nothing crazy. If you guys need anything article-wise, please hit up me or Liz. We could write you stuff for ball pythons, like you said, whatever the fuck you want. And because we do this, we bring in people from so many different sides of the industry for this that we could have them also write and send you stuff too. So if you need stuff, either one of you guys, please reach out.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But so yeah, let's wrap it up. We're 30 minutes past the the limit, but it's all good. I'm sure those will come back eventually, or
the rules are there ain't no rules.
There ain't no fucking rules. Just don't tell anybody about Fight Club. Thank thank you for both of your time. I know how valuable your time is, guys. So thank you so much. And again, you need anything, hit us up. And what is it? Mondays, Snakes and Stogies?
Snakes and Stogies. Yeah, we do Snakes and Stogies live Monday nights at 9 EST. And then we do the Herpetoculture podcast, which is recorded, and that's released Thursday nights. So
I know. I've been listening to that for over a year, I think.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Fucking I used to listen to it almost every morning on the way to the gym, like at like 4 a.m, like every day for the past year. But yeah,
Nice.
You guys, Snakes and the Fat Man, the Ball Shit podcast, there's a few. But all right, for real, we're wrapping it up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having
All
us.
right, man.
Yep. See ya.
Later.
Later.
All right, guys. Well, I lost Liz. I don't know where she's at. She's like super gone. I don't think she's coming back in, but that's totally okay. I'll wrap this up myself. What is next week? I think we have Precious Pythons for next week. So tune in. And hopefully you'll get to hear what Precious has going on, where she started, how she got to where she is today, and hopefully what she has coming up. Or we're taking next week off for Liz's child's birthday. We're actually not sure yet. So, yeah. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you later.